Jochen Hahn and Antonio Albacete. The two of them go flying through the right-hand side, then the left-hand side. Jochen Hahn around the outside, and Lucas Hahn, no father and son, come together on the exit of turn 1.
And the best thing about this is the fact that it's still a 15-minute sprint race. They've not extended the time of the race. It's still just like, it's going to be, what, 7 laps of Spa-Francorchamps?
Yeah. We get to the real nitty-gritty of motorsport. Cranston and Smith are side by side for the title in the very final race of the season. As they go back up the hill towards the Schumacher-esque, Nils Kor clips the back at 10, Simon Povey clips the side of Nils Kor. They go over the hill and Povey's around. Oh my god, that's going to definitely be the thumbnail, isn't it? Hit me in the right direction. Thank you so much.
23 cars.
Racing isn't easy, but experiencing it is. iRacing puts you in the driver's seat with the industry's leading sim racing game. Drive on laser scan replicas of the greatest racing circuits from around the world. Go head-to-head against other drivers chosen by skill-based matchmaking to ensure competitive racing at every level. Compete across all your favorite series. In officially licensed cars, engineered to deliver the most accurate driving experience possible. Join a race or host your own with players from across the globe. Race against the computer or in a league with friends. Feel the thrill behind the wheel. Visit iRacing.com.
Good evening, everybody. Welcome to Chaz Draycott Media, and welcome to round number 3 of the CDM Clio Cup here from Donington Park in the United Kingdom. A wonderful circuit, synonymous with Clio and tin top racing for many, many years now. This is going to be a fantastic third round of the championship, not only because it's nice and cool out there, but also we're going to have our first ever wet race on CDM. Very, very excited. I am also very excited to have back in the box with me Dara Thacker this time round. Dara, you've decided not to disappear this week. How are you, mate? It's been a while.
It has been a while, but I'm glad to be back, and I'm glad that we are getting ready for another great round of action. Donington's always a good track to go racing, and particularly in these cars, it's a little bit more open, a little bit faster through the middle of the corners, and I think it's going to be quite good tonight. Yeah,
it should be really good fun. Here's a quick look at the rest of the calendar that we have coming up after this week. Next week, we go to Jerez in Spain, a really lovely circuit that's going to be very, very busy. Another high-speed track to head to. Then we go to the United States, to Barber, and then we round it out with 3 European classics. Zolder, the Red Bull Ring, and Zandvoort should be a great way to complete the season. After penalties and things were applied, we have a very interesting championship standings at the moment. Dan McCauley has moved up into second place ahead of Dylan DaCosta, who, of course, is not with us for the remainder of the season due to injury. But Ryan Stitchbury now on 117 points has a clear advantage at the very top. Dylan DaCosta is only 1 point ahead of Alex Fretwell, but look behind him. Sam Van Olst, Lee Berridge, who took a race victory and a podium at Okayama, is then ahead of Martin Shirley, Jan Osberg, John Breitenbach and Matt Hoyland. It's incredibly close all the way through though, Dara, even though in the Teams Championship, Aura Motorsports absolutely smashing it out of the park.
Yeah, they are, and no surprise really when you've got a team of Kenyon and Stitchbury that they are doing as good of a job as they are. I think it's interesting to see if they can pull away that little bit further tonight. Of course, the Iron has picked up the lion's share of those points. We'll see if Martin Kenyon can also try and help out, as I'm sure he will. The Iron can't help from there, though.
No. That's very Yayan-esque. Very Yayan-esque to find a way of getting the car up there, to be fair. Quite funny, to say the least. But we will now move on in the session. You can see that it's just got to 10 a.m. in the sim on the right-hand side. And now as it flicks over, qualifying should take place at 10:30 in the sim. Then the first race of the day will take place at midday. And then things will move on. I didn't know that that clock icon was actually relative to the time in the sim. That's really cool. Anyway, we have cars about to head out on circuit, and here they go then for qualifying here at Donington Park. Really excited to see who behaves themselves out there tonight and who doesn't. We've got to keep our eye on the tyre compounds as well, as Lee Berridge has to come to a stop at the end of the pit lane there because he is on wet tyres actually. He doesn't want to be on those just yet because it doesn't take a rocket scientist, Dara, to figure out that that track, while gloomy, is still dry.
It is still dry, which means that drivers are going to be trying to find the maximum amount of grip that they can and give themselves the best possible chance to get a lap in early. I think it'll be good to get a lap time on the board earlier on in the session than later. Gives them a bit of a chance to sit back and not necessarily rest on their laurels, but feel at least confident that they have the pace that they will require this evening in what I think will be a very tightly contested qualifying session as well.
Yeah, I think so. Ryan Stitchbury, championship leader, comes here with all confidence at the moment. You can see just how little lock he's putting on in this car. Really smooth around this circuit. Not doing a massive amount to turn the wheel a heck of a lot. But we have now the first cars out on circuit. And we're on the national layout this week, so we're not going to be going all the way down to the hairpin. We're going to see a lot of that tonight as they hop, skip and jump their way over the final chicane. I think that is Jack Johns just in the background. I know that's Sam Van Olst. Sam had a busy time back at Okayama. He ended up getting a penalty or two, unfortunately for him. But he's excited to be back with us again tonight. Same with Matt Hoyland as well. Matt was not with us for Okayama, so he's going to be back in the saddle hoping to score some championship points because in the times we've seen Matt in this car, he's had good pace, hasn't he?
Yeah, he has. So interesting to see if he can keep that up again this evening. We're still relatively early stage of the championship. This is, of course, season one of this as well. You know, in Formula CDM, we're kind of a couple of seasons deep, so drivers have, you know, even if they're not necessarily into the championship, got used to the racing. I think we are still seeing drivers come to terms, I think, a little bit with how the racing worked in this series, and I think it'll be interesting to see how they continue to feel their way into the championship, because it does take more than just a week or two, doesn't it?
No, exactly. We have Leo Aina back with us for this week. Good to see him back on the grid. He had a bit of a rough time at Misano and had to serve a one-round ban due to getting too many licence points. But he's back with us now for Donington. We do not have Ben Gregory with us tonight, unfortunately. He has picked up 12 licence points and thus a one-round ban. We do have other penalties to be handed out. Jack Johns will not be out in qualifying because he has a qualifying ban and a pit lane start for race 2 as well. He's going to have a bit of a difficult night from there. But also, we should have had Ashley Beard serving a qualifying ban as well, but he's not here this evening, so he'll have to serve that next time round, maybe at Jerez. First time's coming through, and it's Jan Stitchbury fastest, 10th and a half quicker than Sam Van Olst, but only 8 thousandths between him and Martin Kenyon. Martin going really well in these cars at the moment, doing a really solid job, isn't he?
He is. I think a lot to be said for how he's been able to get himself into the championship early on. I think definitely a lot that he'll be looking for the end of the season, but I think it also helps having a teammate doing as well as he is, to almost kind of have that support and know that he's not necessarily the team leader. He can kind of work it out with an extra couple of weeks without too much pressure in terms of the points that the team will need to collect. So, yeah, I think this is a good spot for Martin to be in, and I think for confidence as well. This is going to serve him well to be only about a 10th off of his championship-leading teammate after the opening couple of laps.
How about that for Dan McCauley? 1,000th of a second off of Jan Stitchbury in the Series 1 racing machine. He's got a livery on it for this week, or at least he's put a sticker on the side of it, so the livery is evolved once again, but 1,000th of a second. That is very close. I have seen that Drew from Series 1 is watching in the chat. Good to see you, Drew. Hope you're doing well, mate. We've got a very packed grid here tonight. I'll say packed, actually. We've got, I think, 16 drivers total, which isn't massive, but it's still interesting because only 15 drivers score points in each race. So I suppose with some of them tonight being here in it to win it in the wet conditions, it's going to be a case of just survive the night and you can get some points on the board, surely.
Yeah, I think it will be. And you get a couple of these kind of evenings a season where that is the case. But, you know, I don't think drivers necessarily approach it like that, do they? They always seem to take it more of as a chance to go for a win or a podium or a top 5, whatever that extra target would be, rather than necessarily sitting on their laurels, resting on their laurels. I've said that twice now, and I've said it wrong both times. But yeah, I think it's definitely a chance for loads of these guys to pick up some decent points. But when you're Van Elst, Fretwell and Kenyon split by 0.004 of a second right now, I think you're going to be fighting for P2 tooth and nail. You're not necessarily going to settle for the P4.
No, absolutely not. And there's been a big movement in the times near the top, though. Sam Van Elst, Alex Fretwell, Martin Kenyon, they're separated by 0.004 of a second, second, third and fourth. Then it's Leo Einer and then Dan McCauley in 6th position now, and he was only 1,000th of a second off Jan Stitchbury just earlier. It's incredible how quickly this session has changed. There's the sun. Can you believe that? The sun in Derbyshire. Jan Osberg moves up into 5th position. James Underhill goes to 11th. Less than a second separating the top 11 at the moment. They all look like they're taking it so easy on this circuit because it's quite a high-speed track, and these cars aren't, you know, they're not GT3 car speeds. It's quite interesting because it looks like they are all just coasting around, doesn't it? But they're flat out.
They are. I mean, again, it's the kind of characteristics of this circuit. It's open enough. Whoa, hello. It's open enough that you can take a lot of these corners very high speed, but they're technical enough in that you can gain or lose, you know, a decent chunk of time by getting it wrong or getting it right. So you've got to be very careful with how you place the car around here, but it does invite overtaking because there aren't too many of those heavy braking zones and slower corners. It means that the Constantina effect doesn't come into focus too much. We won't see too many cars having those really close moments in the middle of the corner, and then because of the acceleration phases going to spread out a bit, they will stay quite close, you'd expect. So that's definitely something we've got a lot of time to look forward to.
Yeah, it should be a good evening in that regard. More times being improved. Stitchbury goes even quicker. Van Olst does as well. But look at that. To the top of the times goes Matt Hoyland with a purple final sector. 13,000ths of a second. And the HW Racing Machine goes to provisional pole position. Stuart Clark goes up into 7th place. Jordan Butler doesn't improve on his best time, but he's setting himself up now for a faster lap. We wait now to see who's next across the line. It's going to be James Pallett in the number 13. He's just coming over through Coppice, in fact. Hasn't set a valid lap time yet. I think he's just had a bit of a tough time with this final chicane, which is understandable because, I mean, if we go on board, you can see it's hard to judge on the way in because of where that curb is. Really slows it down, cuts the inside of it, clips the curb on the left. Doesn't carry all the pace through there, but as long as he can get a valid time on the board, he's okay. Although, no, he's moved over to one side. I think he's helping his teammate Alex Fretwell out. Fretwell goes through, and then through goes Lee Berridge as well. So James having a bit of a tough time in this qualifying session. Sam Van Olst going well. Martin Kenyon up there in 5th place. Leo Einer, or Einer, I don't know how I'm saying it now. I keep changing it every single time. Leo really pushing through that chicane a bit too much there for his own good. He's running up in 9th position right now. Only 4/10 off the top spot. It's so close, Dara.
It really is. It's not the widest of fields by any stretch of the imagination. Kind of as we expected. Again, you can see not many corners, not many heavy braking zone. It really is just a case of who can carry the most minimum apex speed through all of these turns. And it can be tricky, particularly for the final couple of corners. We've seen it time and time again. Drivers are bouncing over that curb, and that can't necessarily be consistently healthy, but for the time being at least, it's keeping the times pretty close, and that Van Olst Fretwell Kenyon gap is still at 0.003 of a second between 0.003 between 3 of them.
Yeah, I was going to say Fretwell and Kenyon actually with identical lap times. That's absolutely incredible. Really, really good stuff. I know Martin will be really pleased with that as well, because he's shown that he's got the pace to fight with someone like Alex Fretwell. He was definitely a driver you'd consider for a championship fight here. There's a number of drivers all hoping to score big points. Dan McCauley 2nd in the championship right now, hoping to get some more big points out of this evening. He went well at Okayama, just didn't quite get to beat Jan Stichbury, just behind him on circuit right now, in the final race of the night. He was catching him in the last few laps, and he was wondering if there was a few more laps, would he have been able to take that race victory? But still, his first win of the season still eludes him. Don't know if he's improved on this lap. Hoyland improved in that middle sector, but it doesn't look like he's improved the overall lap time. Leo Aina next up. Jordan Butler. Oh, that was a nice transition. Jordan Butler is about to cross the line, I think. Nope, into the pit lane he goes. Stuart Clark would have been next, but no, Jan Osberg goes in front of him. Everyone's swapping around so much. Martin Kenyon has improved on that first sector, but not anywhere else. I'm not sure that's going to be enough. No, it's not. He's about half a second down on his fastest time just there. Lee Berridge suddenly in 10th position. I remember Lee setting a good time earlier on and being right up there. It's incredible how much these times are shifting around and how the session has different phases to it. But it just shows you how competitive this grid is in this wonderful but tricky little car. And across the line once more goes Lee Berridge. There's a lot of gravel thrown around on the track there, Dara. I don't think that's going to change much over the course of the night.
I don't think so either, particularly at that final corner. I think it's going to be spread across the track, to be honest with you. Even at the exit of turn one, in every single one of the races, someone's probably going to go wide, aren't they? And drag on quite a lot of gravel onto the surface, but might get away with it down through 2 and 3. But yeah, and this is a track where you really are pushing the boundaries at every single moment. Look, I mean, through here, just about getting towards the white line, but not going over it. Then you're nearly fully off the road, snapping back. Then you keep it nice and tight through here. Maybe take a little bit of the inside. Well, actually take a lot of the inside, maybe a bit of the inside dirt, just to try and help turn the car. You know, this is a circuit where it's old school, effectively. There's not the runoff that you'd necessarily want if you were pushing this hard, but it's that, you know, difficulty in finding the limit between you know, real advantage and risk.
Yeah, definitely. I think it's a great circuit for these sorts of cars. You know, a momentum-based car that hasn't got a hell of a lot of power. It's always really exciting to watch Clios around here because there's not many heavy braking zones either, so you have to be really on it from the get-go. Lee Berridge has had a pretty stable lap so far, but no major improvements in any sectors. Jan Stichbury improved in the middle sector, but hasn't got a better lap on the board just yet. John Roberts will be the next car across the line. Lee Berridge does actually jump up. He improves in the final sector enough to move an extra position. What about John Roberts, currently running in 11th place? No improvement in that last sector. Is it enough though? No improvement there. James Pallett crossing the line now, and he sets his first valid time of the session, a 1:21.1 for Pallett, puts him 16th on the grid. We do have 18 drivers tonight, actually. Martin Shirley has made it, I'm happy to say. Martin is now out there on the circuit. He did say originally that he wasn't going to make it here tonight, but yeah, he's gotten in just before the end of qualifying, so thank you very much, Martin. He's thrown himself right in there, and to be fair, Martin's been quick in the first few rounds of the championship here, Dara, so maybe he could spring a surprise on us. Even if his qualifying doesn't go his way and he's not got time to get a valid lap in or anything, he could at least make some progress in the race.
Yeah, there's time, isn't there, over the course of the evening to make your way through the field, over the course of the multiple races that we have this evening. So, yeah, definitely a chance to show what you can do, and again, there isn't the fattest of grids here tonight, so if something goes wrong up front and you're at the back, even if you're not set a qualifying time, you could find yourself gaining 4 or 5 spots early on and suddenly be right in the midfield and in the mix. So yeah, I think anyone's going to feel like they have a chance coming into tonight, and everyone's going to feel like they have a good ability to move forward or towards the front of the field as they run their way in towards the 3 races we've got tonight, Chaz.
Harry 7, car 7, has just moved up to P11. Before that, he was 2.8 seconds off. I did wonder what was going on with Harry. I'm yet to watch his latest video. He's got a YouTube channel, Murby Goes, where he does a lot of reviews of his races and puts some videos up to recap what went on and cover the action. Martin Shirley about to cross the line. How is his first qualifying lap of the night? Puts him 16th, but just 1.3 seconds off at the minute, so he's definitely got the opportunity to put in a better time now. He's got a good minute and a half left to go, so if he's flat out on this one, he could do all right here. It's such a strange contrast for me to blow my own horn a bit. I was commentating on what is effectively the European Formula 3 Championship on the weekend in Euro Cup 3, and the cars looked so much more nimble and flamboyant than these little Clios. It's quite a stark contrast, especially when you've gone from Imola to Donington Park as well. It's a very different kettle of fish to commentate on, I have to say.
Yeah, there's not many comparisons, is there, that you can make between them, apart from, I guess, they're the kind of older school circuits in those countries. Whereas you've got, even Misano, which is a little bit more modern in Italy, and you've got things like Silverstone in the UK. Not long left to go then in this qualifying session, is there? Time really ticking away. But Hoyland still has that advantage. I think Stitchbury will want to find the extra bit of time, but with the lead he's got in the championship, I think he'll be very happy with the front row start.
Yeah, I don't think he'll mind that at all, as long as he and Hoyland can stick together and maybe break away, because he knows that Sam van Alst is going to be a driver that will not back out of making a move. He's going to be pushing the limits in that first race. Martin Shirley goes to 13th fastest now with a 1:17.9. So he'll be a lot happier with that, but still not quite where we'd expect to see him. I do wonder. I must apologise to Dara, because the feed I was just giving him has just randomly died, and I wonder if there's a keybind or something somewhere that I haven't known of. Either way, we're going to come into the first race of the night here, and it's very suddenly going to get cloudy. Keep your eyes on the skies over the course of the evening. Matt Hoyland takes his first pole position of the season alongside Jayan Stitchbury, championship leader. Then it's Sam van Alst and Alex Fretwell on row 2. Martin Kenyon will start 5th ahead of Dan McCauley, second in the championship at the moment. Then it's Stuart Clark 7th alongside Lee Berridge, who won at Okayama. We then have Jan Osberg and Leo Ayner, who returns to the championship tonight. Harry Seven will start 11th alongside John Roberts, who will join him on the 6th row of the grid. Next up, we have Martin Shirley. Look for him coming through the order from there. Jordan Butler, 14th on the grid, ahead of James Underhill and Danny Weir. James Pallett will start 17th, with Jack Johns alongside him on row 9. Jack having a qualifying ban after last time out, so unfortunately couldn't take part in this qualifying session. There's a departure from East Midlands Airport. Dara, welcome back, first off, but is there anybody you've got your eye on here to take this race win based on current form?
I mean, it's so tricky, isn't it? I mean, you'd say Yain's going to have a very good chance from second, being the championship leader, but there's so many cars at the front of the field there that had qualifying times that were so close that, without incident, I can't see these guys splitting up too far at the front of the field. So I think there's a lot to be said about any number. I think I'd say about the first third of the field at least of having a good chance of winning this race.
Yeah, we'll have to see. That's why we love Clio Cup racing, and I mean, let's not forget that the Clio Cup car here on iRacing has less of a slipstream effect than the real machine. It would be great to see iRacing really reflect that, but I don't think it's a car that they're going to continue developing. Either way, the first race of the night here from Donington Park in the CDM Clio Cup is underway, and it's a nice tame start, no smoke and mirrors or anything. Jayan Stitchbury instantly moves over to the right hand side to defend from Sam van Alst. He knows that is pivotal to staying near the front in this race. Alex Fretwell looks to the outside. Van Alst has tipped him. Van Alst drives into the side of Jayan Stitchbury, and he's off already. Contact then between Kenyon and his teammate, but literally into the first corner. Oh, dearie me, Stuart Clark. Stuart Clark has been turned. I think Jan Osberg was the car going in there behind him. He's got to rejoin safely on the right-hand side. Careful, gents, as you head down the craners. James Underhill has had some dramas there. He's losing the front bumper. Stuart Clark has been smashed into by just about everybody, while Matt Hoyland streaks away at the front.
Yeah, Underhill was a bit, I think, understeer there, wasn't it, through turn 3. Didn't help him out too much, but he will have to limp home and repair that damage. Jayan's just trying to get back towards the front of the field without too much of a hitch after that opening corner incident. He's a little bit behind McCauley, but he's got Berridge and Van Alst right behind him right now. If he can just try and pull away by a couple of tenths, he'll feel a little bit safer and able to push up towards the top four once again. But Hoyland's in dreamland, really. A full second of an advantage on the opening lap at Donington's fantastic.
Absolutely is. I think Van Alst was slowing down there, and very close and scary with Berridge, because he was trying to give that position back. Chicane for the first time. Everybody careful on the brakes. Martin Shirley trying to move on Jan Osberg. John Roberts wants a piece of that. Gives Martin a bit of a kiss on the exit. Jordan Butler's in the middle of that as well. Bit of a flash of the lights there from Sam Van Alst on Jayan Stitchbury. I'm not sure if that's sorry or move out of the way, but yeah, Sam into turn 1. Literally making contact at the first hurdle with fellow championship rival Danny Weir and James Pallett, both with an issue in the final chicane. They've lost a bit of ground. Looks like Jordan Butler is side by side here with John Roberts, two very shiny and colourful cars. But we'll very quickly have a look back at that start, Dara, because that was nuts.
Yeah, it was. Let's see it again. From the perspective of Sam Van Alst, of course, he was involved in that moment off, at turn 1. With Jayan Stitchbury. as the light's going out and then getting away. It was a really good start actually from the iron. Got straight into the slipstream of the race leader, Mr. Hoyland, but then came back to the racing line. Van Alst just saw the gap, went for it. And I don't really think Jan expected him to go for it in that manner, because he just turned in slightly early, but probably within his rights to do so, because Van Alst was nowhere near there when they started. And then it's just kind of a case of 3 trying to just jink to the right, not really working out, and that's unlucky for Stuart Clark to get hit, I think. And then again, it's exactly the same, 3 to 1 not going. And, well, he's just been a victim of 2 incidents that really aren't anyone's fault.
Yeah, Stuart Clark was really unlucky there. Twice he ended up in a 3-wide situation where he was on the outside and in a really horrible place. But Jan Osberg tried to put his nose down the inside. I'm not quite sure what he was doing with it. Leo Ayner goes down the inside of Lee Berridge into turn 1. Lee's going to carry a lot of speed around the outside there. But look at this behind them now. Harry 7, don't go through the middle, Harry. He's got to keep his nose clean at this point. In the background, we've got Jack Johns having a great start. 6 places up for him at the moment. Jan Osberg losing a few places now, has James Underhill in there too. Slowdowns for a number of people in the mid-pack. Leo Ayner is actually one of them. He's trying to serve it and get out of the way of these guys. Berridge and Shirley going through. Martin Shirley's gained 5 places. Harry Seven's gained 4. Alex Fretwell up into 2nd place, has gained 2. Then it's Kenyon and Macaulay having a scrap for 3rd.
Here we go, outside line then. Macaulay on the inside, looking to try and hold on, but Stitchbury's coming right the way through, following his teammate to the outside line as they make their way in towards what I think is one of the most important acceleration zones on the circuit to get onto this back straight. Sam Van Alst has got the best view of all of this. Stitchbury not quite with the best run, but he's got the slipstream off the back of his teammate Kenyon. Macaulay, a bit of blinking, now that's not going to help anybody out, but can Stitchbury get it done before the braking zone? I'm not sure that Mr. Macaulay's going to let him get away with that one too soon. Big power cross. Stitchbury goes through the gravel as well, but Macaulay's gone around. He gets back going again, luckily. But I mean, his huge bounce over the curb is what pushed him into Stitchbury there. Yeah,
absolutely. Dan tried to keep it to the inside, and unfortunately, nothing could be done. And 2nd place in the championship now drops way, way down. Leo Ayner looks to the inside of Martin Shirley. Nothing doing there. Then there's John Roberts. Dan Macaulay under pressure from Jack Johns. Jack has driven into the corner of him as well. Jordan Butler wants a piece of this too now. Dan's getting battered all over the place. He won't be a big fan of that. He's got Jan Osberg with him as well. He was having a lot of battles with Jan back at Okayama. Nearly a bit of contact with Jordan Butler there too. I think the 2 of them did actually rub panels on their way down the hill. Need to just keep it nice and calm. Leo Ayner runs wide just in front of them. God, it's absolute mayhem, Dara. Welcome back. Hoyland's going to be loving life, but Fretwell, he's chasing him down here.
He is, and Fretwell is keeping him very much at bay and not allowing him to get too far away right now in the opening 5 minutes of this race. I mean, that gap has been quite stagnant, isn't it? It's basically exactly the same now as it was on lap 1. So Hoyland just not able to pull away. Fretwell just not able to reel him in at all. But they are pulling away from Kenyon and Van Alst with all the battling that's been happening back there, so that's positive for them.
Dan Macaulay's just gotten back ahead of Jack Johns. I think Jack's given him that position back, in fairness, and yeah, he's flashing him to sort of say sorry. And a lot of the drivers have said that when they're flashing, it's not them sort of being aggressive, it's them saying sorry. Danny Weir's going to have to say sorry to Jonathan Palmer for ruining his grass as he goes across the chicane. Martin Shirley's having a good race, as we expected, up into 8th position right now. He's gained 5 spots so far in this one. Biggest mover is Jack Johns, but 5 places each for Martin Shirley and Harry 7. Both of them having a pretty good run through the order so far, as you can see on the left-hand side. Stuart Clark is the one that's the most hard done by, losing that many spots in the early stages. But what can Fretwell do now? Because Hoyland's gone 2 tenths quicker than him and done the fastest lap of the race last time round. Hoyland for HW Racing, back after missing Okayama. He's 10th in the championship, but he's hoping to take his first win of the season.
He is indeed, and it's going well for the time being. I mean, we're still, like we said before, early stages of the season, lots of races to get through. But you want to get that first one off pretty soon, don't you? And round 3 is a good time to do it. Side by side in behind, Leo Ayner looking to try and pull himself towards Mr. Shirley, but Shirley with a good exit through that's going to keep him more than safe. And actually, it's going to be Roberts attacking Leo down in towards this final chicane. I think the Draycott racing car's going to have it covered, and it indeed does. Big bounce over the curb, but they're all doing it.
Yeah, they're all absolutely throwing it. Although Leo actually gets a slowdown penalty, moves over to the left-hand side, and John Roberts is going to gain another position into the top 10. Dan Macaulay's going to try and go through there as well. He takes advantage of Leo's slowdown, and now he's got his good mate Jack Johns right behind him. Jack still gaining 6 places in this race, having a really good run up into 12th position. Don't forget, 15th place goes on to pole position for race 2, and currently that's the front bumperless James Underhill. although I'm sure that Stuart Clark will take reverse grid pole after the race that he's had so far. Back to the front, and it is Matt Hoyland, who is currently only half a second ahead of Fretwell. Fretwell really gained on him that previous lap, actually, and in this first part of the lap as well. He's really flying.
Yeah, he really is, and he's starting to turn the screw a bit and give Matt Hoyland the wake-up call I think he needed in this race. Let's see, is there any chance that he can come a little bit more down this straight? It's closer now than he was, but no way, he's going to get closer to it than me, obviously, but I'm not entirely sure that it matters between 6/10 and 9/10 back. You aren't getting much of a slipstream benefit being the car behind, and Lee Berridge is feeling that because he's stuck behind Mr. Harry 7 at the moment.
Harry gets ahead of him, actually, as they go into the chicane. Nice stuff from the number 7. And actually, no, yeah, he was getting the position back. You're right. And Leo Aina again gets a slowdown penalty through that chicane. Jack Johns moves to the right of John Roberts. And John gives him all the room in the world to get that move done. Nice respectful stuff from John. Not sure he's going to get... Oh, I was just wondering if he'd get the overlap on Leo there as they head back down the hill. Leo's going to give him a bit of a push as they go through the crane, as he does move to the left-hand side. Wants to make it work in there. Backs out of it just at the last moment. Forces John to go onto a compromised line into the old hairpin. And look at the push you've got to give it through there to try and find a gap. He's really trying to squeeze his way through now, is Leo. Straight back into the championship and straight back into the fight. But you can see he had that moment there where he backed out for a sec. That's what we hoped he'd learned after Misano, and he really is showing that he's learned that, and cuts one way, then the other on John Roberts. Lovely move down the inside. Can he get this outbraking manoeuvre done into Coppice? Can he keep it to the tight inside line? Really good racing by these two. Jan Osberg now with a front row seat to all of this.
Yep, and he's going to get the best run you think of the three, but look at the speed of Roberts going down here. Even though he's got no slipstream, realistically, yes, he's got it ahead of with Johns, but really helping him out. Inside line, bit of a dive, not going to work out for Leo Aina, but it's not going to work out on the exit either because he will not have taken the best racing line. And is there a chance for Osberg? No, I think it's a bit too far back. There is a chance though for Lee Berridge on the inside of Harry 7 to demote. 7 to 7th in the 7, all the 7s there. And Lee is through and ahead, but I think 6 is going to be the most for any of these guys because there's a huge gap up to the top 5.
Yeah, there really is. 5 seconds from Martin Kenyon back to Lee Berridge, but the scrap continues here. These guys will have basically consigned themselves to the fact they have that outside of top 5 finishing position. Dan McCauley's in the back of this quartet here, behind Martin Shirley, who continues to rise up the order. Jordan Butler's got a slowdown penalty further down the order. He's had a run-off at the old hairpin. But frantic, brilliant racing again as Shirley puts his nose down the inside, tries to scare Harry 7 out of it, but Harry carries some great pace around there. Martin's getting offensive now, isn't he? Going for the attack once again down the inside of the Spectra racing machine, but it doesn't work. Look out for Dan McCauley on the cutback. Martin covers it off. He knows exactly what Dan was going to do, and now Dan goes over to the left. Martin is giving him room-ish, question mark? I was going to say he needs to give him room at some point. There's barely a car's width there. That's going to get scary on the brakes. Dan locks up, tries it round the outside. He's going to be going straight on there. Jack Johns is going to take advantage of that one. And well, that was a little bit leery there between Martin Shirley and Dan McCauley, wasn't it? That could have ended in tears, that.
Yeah, really could. Luckily, they've both got through without too much harm. Good for us to see. As we get into the second half of this race already, these do kind of disappear before us, don't they? With 3 20-minute events. Interesting as well, I think that Van Olst is holding off Stitchbury now, trying to pull away a touch. Because these two, they came together turn 1, lap 1. Now they're back together fighting for third, rather than their initial P2. But the man who's going to be happiest about that is Mr. Alex Fretwell, isn't he?
Sam Van Olst somehow only has 1 podium this season, actually. I thought he would have had way more than that with how much pace he's got. Harry Seven's just having to serve another slowdown penalty while Dan McCauley tries to get back ahead of Jack Johns. I know he'll be a bit wound up after that as Seven has driven off the road in avoidance of everybody else. But yeah, that moment with Martin Shirley, pretty scary for him and Dan McCauley. Leo Aina looking down the inside at Coppice. These guys are not dialing it back, thinking of having other races in the day, are they? They are really throwing themselves forward here. Jack Johns flashing the lights at Leo in the Ragnotti racing machine. Jack's got a great run into the chicane, but it's not enough to make anything of it just yet. They all hop, skip and jump their way through those last couple of corners. But ahead of them, Martin Shirley is now clearing off in the RD SimSport 2 machine. John Roberts very much under pressure here from Leo, and I know that John's going to see a move coming, and Leo throws it to the inside, but look at that by John. Carries a lot of speed, a bit too much speed around the outside. Leo's actually pressured him into making that mistake. Jack Johns is now going to sneak through down the inside as well. And as they go down the Craners, they will hopefully leave each other room. Oh, Jack cuts the nose off, has a bit of a blink in and out. Leo gets slightly sideways partway through the Craners. Jack's going to try and get a cutback, kisses the back of the number 4. John Roberts has to go right. Can he go left? Dan McCauley's in the mix as well. 3 wide up the hill. McCauley might gain a bunch of places here. He moves to the left of Leo Ayner, and he's going to find that gap. And Dan McCauley, a really good day at the office. No, he's going to he's going to lose out. John Roberts, I thought, was going to drill him there, but Dan McCauley now goes one way, then the other. Jack Johns moves to the right. Leo Ayner goes to defend the position as well. Dan could actually gain all 3 places here with a good enough run around the outside, but no, they are getting very, very close to each other, but there's not really that many positions being exchanged. Jan Osberg now in the slipstream here, Dara, down to the chicane.
Yeah, and Jan is looking to try and pick up positions if they start to trip over each other, which it feels like they are. McCauley on the outside, Ayner on the inside. Look at Jan trying to go right on the way. That's just not the line, is it?
No.
For the Swedish driver. That's not what he needed to do at all. Dan McCauley's made it stick to Leo Ayner, who has a slow-down penalty. That's not going to help him out too much either. John Jones is... Sorry, that's just not his name.
That's his name now. John Joe.
John Jones. No, it's Mr. Johns. McCauley's going to still be attacked by Ayner, who's still going to serve that slowdown. Surely he's going to have to serve it soon. It should see McCauley safe and away in P8, but my word, that was a hefty battle for a lap.
It was absolutely brilliant, wasn't it? Now Ayner needs to serve that slowdown penalty, but I know Jack Johns will be itching to get through and gain another place. Great race by Jack Johns, 8 positions gained so far. But at the front, we need to look at this battle that is shaping up, because Hoyland now has Fretwell very much filling his rear view mirrors, and Fretwell has got, 3.5 tenths of a second to the race leader. Last time round they did almost identical lap times, but now Fretwell has that little bit of slipstream that you get in these Clios to help him along. Always a bit hot there though. It's going to be more than 3.5 tenths now. Fretwell's bottled it across the chicane. He'll be kicking himself for that one. Hoyland will see that and love it. Van Holster's got one in the background as well, and Stitchbury's going to go past him. I'm not sure I quite agree with that as a way of serving it, Sam, but he's managed to at least avoid moving around too much right in front of Stitchbury. But Yayan, after considering they made contact at turn 1, is going back into 3rd position. Wow. Yeah,
I mean, crazy, few minutes of racing, all things considered, up and down the field. I don't know how much time we've really... sorry, I've lost the feed for anybody at home and for Chaz.
Oh, I'm so sorry. Again?
No, literally 2 seconds ago, which is why I'm now trying to say things and make them up. I was in my head going, I don't know how much time we've got, but obviously you guys do. It's good, though, I think that we've got so many of these guys racing right the way towards the checker flag, because even in these 20-minute races, it almost feels like you have that little lull in the middle 10 minutes and then a real sprint on in the final 5. We haven't had the lull here, but it doesn't mean we're not going to get the sprint.
Yeah, 100%. It's pretty nuts, isn't it? Van Olst and Stitchbury are still having that scrap, by the way. Now Van Olst has had that slow down served. He's trying to have another go at the Welshman in towards the final chicane. Still a number of laps left to go here at Donington Park, and this is only the first race of the night of 3. Jack Johns has still got a defender position in the background, but we'll keep an eye on this for the final podium spot. Yayan Stitchbury on the inside line, doing everything he can do. Is he going to make it? Oh, Van Olst really squeezes him to the inside line. And I think he's going to make it work. We'll have to wait and see. All the way around the outside, then the inside for the Craners. That is committed stuff by Sam Van Olst. And I think, unless, no, Yayan's not going to let him have that. Yayan slides back down the inside, door-to-door stuff. This is brilliant racing. But I think due to the circuit going left here, Sam Van Olst is just going to get it done. That is amazing stuff. Really, really tough stuff, that, by the pair of them. And I tell you what, that takes some doing, doesn't it? Goodness me.
Yeah, it really does. But goodness me, are they still going to go at it in the final 3.5 minutes? Van Olst and Stitchbury, as they come round the... I nearly called it the penultimate corner. It kind of is a Coppice.
Yeah,
in this layout.
I'd say so.
The final chicane, you can just kind of count as the final corner. So, I mean, it's how short the lap is, really. There's Jack Johns, not John Jones. I don't even know who John Jones is. I think I saw John, I saw an S, and just in my head smash the 2. I would say it's been a long week, but it's only Tuesday. Jan Rosberg still fighting Butler as they get towards the final chicane. He's gone on the inside, on the outside, through the middle so far. He looks for the inside line, but doesn't go too aggressively into it. It looked like Butler went a bit deep, so he might get a good exit.
For Van Alst again, having to defend third position here from Jan Stitchbury. These guys are absolutely glued to each other at the minute. It's fantastic to watch as, ooh, dearie me, they're so close together. Jan all over the back of him, once again into the old hairpin. There was a bit of contact between these two back at Okayama that landed Stitchbury a penalty. Sam got a warning for moving in a straight line. But if you look behind them, look, Martin Kenyon is not miles away here. If these two battle hard enough, he could very much be in the picture for this fight in the last couple of laps. Jan needs to be careful using that much curb through there. Could very much get it wrong. Jordan Butler is off. Jordan Butler is around. And surely that is due to contact out of the old hairpin. Let's have a quick look, Dara.
Let's have a look as they're on their way down the hill. Jordan Butler on the inside line, trying to go through. Sorry, on the outside line, trying to go through. It's just the slightest bit of contact. There's not really anywhere that he can go in the Spectra racing car. He left the space on the inside, didn't he? So unfortunate.
Once again, Sam Van Alst has got a slowdown, and Jan Stitchbury weaving around all over the place, maybe sending a message. Now Martin Kenyon, his teammate for ORA Motorsports, or Aura Motorsports, is going to try and come through. Now this is great for Jan because Martin can just distract Sam Van Alst now for the last couple of laps here. As long as he can just have a go at him here and there, he can stop Sam going for that third position finish. So they've just got to keep working together like this, and Martin's just got to try and keep that pressure on, but at the same time he doesn't want to throw away a 5th place finish. He's got a good gap of 4.5 seconds back to Lee Berridge, then he's got Martin Shirley, and then Dan McCauley 3 seconds back. Dan's very much on his own now. Then there's this battle a bit further back. Jan Rosberg and John Roberts are becoming good friends for 13th and 14th position. Danny Weir's currently 15th, by the way, on to get reverse grid pole. But at the front, with just 1 lap left to go, Matt Hoyland is doing the business.
He is for the time being, and he's done it the whole way through. So as long as Alex Fretwell doesn't spring a surprise, or Hoyland, make a slight error on this final lap, which we're about to start. Oh my word, look at the air time we're getting just back through. White flag will be flying then as they cross the start-finish line to start lap number 16 of this race. Shows how short the lap is. Then in a 20-minute race, we can get 16 laps in.
Yeah.
But Fretwell's going to have to throw everything at it now. He's got the cushion in behind in case he makes just a slight error. Let's see.
Yeah, Fretwell pushing like mad. Leo Aino with another slowdown penalty on this circuit. He's going to have loads of them by the end of this race. He's lucky, actually, that he's not going to hit an incident limit here with how many of them he's picked up, but I suppose at the end of the day, if he's still circulating, he is all good. No black flag for him just yet. You can see Alex really wants to push this car like mad, but you have to use so little steering lock everywhere in this machine that he just can't push it like he wants to. Up towards McLean's one more time, and it looks like Hoyland is going to be home and dry here, subject to a good run out of Coppice.
Yep, that's all he really needs. Sounds easier said than done, but let's see. All he needs is the good run. Keep it pinned, make sure you keep it tight, don't go too far wide, and you're going to be safe. A bit wide there, but he's going to be more than safe, just as long as he gets the braking right. Yeah,
absolutely. One more braking zone to do for car 44. And Mr. Hoyland is about to enter the final chicane. A little hop this way, a little skip that way, a jump over the crest. And Matt Hoyland takes his first ever win in the CDM Clio Cup, with Alex Fretwell taking 2nd position. In the background, it's Jan Stitchbury just ahead of Sam Van Alst. Very close stuff between those guys. Martin Kenyon with a great 5th place. I think that might be Kenyon's best finish of the season. No, actually got 4th in race 3 at Okayama. Lee Berridge continues some great form. Martin Shirley puts on a good show up there. And what about Harry Seven? He's going to get overtaken at the line by Stuart Clark, Jan Rosberg and John Roberts. Harry Seven, that is devastating. It's going to put him on the front row for race 2. But Danny Weir is going to score the final championship point and go to reverse grid pole for the 2nd race of the night. But wow, what a busy start to our evening there, Dara. That was mental.
Yeah, crazy way to kick off the evening, and sets I think the tone for the rest of the racing action tonight. Only a third of the way through, aren't we?
Yeah.
After that, which is always fun to know. A little side-by-side moment from these guys. They get their way back to the pit lane as they trundle around to get home. But yeah, great way to open the evening's worth of racing.
Absolutely was. Apologies for the feed issue. I believe it might have fixed itself now, but we'll have to wait and see, I suppose, how time goes on. Either way, we are going to go straight into the second race of the night, as is the brutal nature here. I mean, it's Danny Weir on pole position, and it is Harry Seven alongside him. John Roberts and Jan Osberg make up row 2. Then it's Stuart Clark and Leo Ayner on row 3. Jack Johns will line up alongside Dan McCauley, with Martin Shirley and Lee Berridge completing row 5. Then it's Martin Kenyon alongside Sam Van Olst. He's going to be sick of the sight of Jan Stitchbury in 13th, Alex Fretwell 14th, and Matt Hoyland, race 1 winner, will start 15th. The rest are, as they finish the race, Jordan Butler, James Underhill and James Pallett, who will complete the field. So, Dara, a busy night so far. We've got a little bit left to go before the second race of the evening. What do you reckon in terms of the reverse grid here? This could be quite chaotic. We've got some drivers going on dries and some going on wets.
We do, and I think it's the interesting thing. What do they almost kind of bet on, or gamble on, shall we say? It's going to be an interesting one.
It absolutely is. Race 2 of the night here at Donington Park in the CDM Clio Cup is underway, and I can tell you that the lead of the wet tyre runners is Jan Osberg in the black and yellow car on the right-hand side of your shot. There's a few of them taking them. Let's see who behaves themselves. Danny Weir leads us down into the first corner for the first time, and he is ahead of Harry Seven and John Roberts. Everybody else filtering their way through. Jack Johns has a pit lane start, and I think, oh no, poor Jack. He's already been done for speeding in the pits. Is Fretwell. Fretwell is off, and so is Hoyland. Fretwell and Hoyland coming to blows out of the first corner and already losing ground. They're right at the back of the field, and now there's a big bit of argy-bargy going on here. Jan Osberg in that black number 2 machine is the only one on wet tyres in this group. Actually, no, Leo Ayner just behind him, also on wets. They are expecting the rain to be very fast and very heavy.
Yeah, they really do. And let's see how it's going to pan out, because they could have nailed this, or they could have maybe lost themselves a bit of ground early on. But that doesn't seem to be the case, is it? Because they look like they're more than holding their own as they run their way through. Stitchbury and Van Olst as well, obviously going for that wet tyre behind Osberg and Ayner. It's just Martin Kenyon kind of in the middle at the moment of that big long train. Danny Weir's going to do everything he can to pull as much of a gap as possible if and when this rain does become strong enough that they will require a wet tyre. Leo Ayner, that's Martin Kenyon going deep on the dries, and that could be very telling.
And look, it's starting to rain. You can see the raindrops falling already here. The lead rain tyre runner is Leo Ayner, and he is there in that white number 4 machine. Harry Seven has gone to the lead past Danny Weir. John Roberts in there as well, but the rain is starting to fall here at Donington Park, and this is going to be very, very interesting to see how this works. You can see on the left-hand side of your screen the drivers that are on wet tyres. Jan Stitchbury is one of them, and so is Sam Van Olst, but Matt Hoyland has stayed on the dries. It's going to be very interesting to see how that works for them. Look down the inside there, Sam Van Olst trying it on Hoyland. He's got Alex Fretwell right behind him. Didn't see the contact between Fretwell and Hoyland on lap 1, but we'll have to look back at that. The rain is very much falling now. It's going to start as light rain, and then after that it will come down much heavier towards the end of this race, but it depends how quickly the surface water builds up. You can see actually, Dara, it's not actually made it to this part of the circuit yet. Just round there it started.
Yep, and that's the British weather. You know, one side of the track could be bone dry and quite frankly tropical, and the other side could be wet and wild, even on a small circuit like this. That's just how it works. Yeah, I guess that's necessarily how it works in a sim, but hey, we can pretend so we can claim it. Alex Fretwell involved in all of this behind Jordan Butler, who is just about leaving this train through, with Jan Stitchbury involved on that wet tyre. He's now the lead runner on the wet. Dry still the holding on for the time being in terms of being the fastest tyre, but how long can that last? It just takes a crossover in the next even 10 minutes, and then all of a sudden the dry tyres can start to be very, very difficult to be able to use.
Sam Van Olst is in the box seat here to watch all of this unfold in front of him. He's got Kenyon, Osberg, Ayner, Fretwell, Stitchbury, Dan McCauley and John Roberts are having a scrap further up the order. Dan down the inside of the 86. These guys all on dries. Dan moves up into 3rd place, but it's a case of how well will he be able to hang on. Stuart Clark will be happy in 5th position after how his earlier race went, considering he was around at the beginning. Osberg is off. Osberg is off and he's in the barrier. He's hit the wall, but I don't know if that's going to damage the car too much. We'll have to see what the situation is here for Jan. Let's have a recap of this incident. He's got Martin Kenyon just down his inside. Oh, is Martin just going to clip the left rear? Oh, yeah, he does. Oh, that's a big shame. That's a bit ugly, that one, isn't it?
not the nicest of viewing, is it? So he will have to, I think, regroup at the end of this one and get going for race number 3 again, because I don't think there's going to be too much left for him. We're down towards the back of the field in this particular, it says the consolation race, but in, the middle 20-minute race.
Yeah.
I think the likes of Osberg, Underhill and Johns are going to be looking for a consolation, but hey-ho, they'll come back for the feature at the end. Roberts is coming in to stop. Is he going onto the wet tyres? Is he the first driver to actively change from dries to wets? Up on the jacks would suggest that he is, because there's no other real reason to go up on those jacks in these 20-minute races. And he'll come out right at the back of the field. Yeah. Well, if he selected slicks, that would have been... Oh, we've all been there, haven't we?
Wait,
have we selected the wrong tyre?
Oh, yeah, 100%. All the time. I couldn't stand pit stops in iRacing when I tried to race competitively. It's nightmare fuel. Harry 7 leads the way at the moment. He's got Dan McCauley chasing him down. Dan's dispatched of Danny Weir and is going very, very quickly, actually. Leo Ayner in a battle here with Ian Stitchbury. These guys both on wet tyres. They've got Martin Kenyon behind, who is not on wets. A bit of door banging as they head up towards Coppice there. Ayner on the outside line, running a little bit deep. He's going to clip the grass, and that's not going to help him out. Sam van Olst goes through. Headlights have just come on, and you can now hear the rain. You can see a bit of spray, look. It's starting to kick up off the surface here, and it looks like Dan McCauley's got a demon run on Harry 7. Harry into the pit lane. He's decided now is the time. Dan McCauley leads here at Donington Park. More drivers coming in. Lee Berridge heading into the pits. Jordan Butler coming in as well. Those wet weather tyres now, the drivers that took them from the start, Ian Stitchbury and co, are going to be much, much happier. Leo flashing his lights all the way down the start-finish straight there on Sam van Olst. Goes for a move into turn 1 on Sam. Sam's going to close the door on him and say no thank you. But as they head back down the hill, I love the onboard views in the wet weather. They really do capture the atmosphere, don't they?
Yeah, they really do. And they really give you a good sense of what's going on down on the circuit at the moment. Much easier to see from the onboards how the drivers are feeling as well, from their perspectives of how much visibility they have and where the spray's affecting them more than others as they run up the hill. Leo Ayner, goodness me, that's a very optimistic place to try and stick a car to make it 3 wide, and thankfully backs out of it. But you can see Stitchbury and Van Olst just trying to keep it going, but Kenyon doing a good job to get back through. Actually, sorry, he lost the position, didn't he? He had a bad run. I take it all back. He's not doing well. Probably needs some wets, but I think we're starting to get to that crossover period, and I don't think, realistically, 10 seconds is going to be enough for the likes of Dan McCauley to hold on. Well,
Dan McCauley's not going to hold on. He's already off the circuit, and now he's run wide on the exit of the final corner. Danny Weir also on the drive. Stuart Clark too. Matt Hoyland dives into the pits. Martin Shirley is next up with Alex Fretwell, who's got a slow down penalty, sorry. Ian Stitchbury, the leader of the wet tyre drivers, into the pits. Also goes James Pallett in the background, but these guys are going to really struggle now. Let's go on board with Dan McCauley, and you'll see just what it's like. Dan is a very accomplished kart racer, so he knows how to handle a machine that's sliding around underneath him, but look at the understeer. We've seen these cars with a lot more grip than this, and he's really struggling now, and there's still 12 minutes to go. I think this will be telling for later in the season when the drivers that start on wet tyres now, they know what the situation is. It's going to be the same weather at Zolder in a couple of weeks' time. Danny Weir losing out now to Stuart Clark. Martin Kenyon is way off the road. And Ian Stitchbury, well, he didn't win the first race, but he's going to be quids in here if he carries on. Sam van Olst going with him very, very quickly in that Goldsus car. Not just the Jesus car.
Yeah, I mean, it could be the Jesus car. Depending on how much water's underneath, if he's able to keep going.
He could walk on it.
Driving on it. But Ian Stitchbury, just now, I think, trying to gain up towards Alex Fretwell, just bring the gap down to everyone. It will be exponential. The weather it gets, the more time they're going to gain. So I don't think there's going to be any panic at the moment. The only panic that there might be is from Dan McCauley, because he cannot do that final corner, and he's in.
He's into the pits as well. Fretwell's off. Fretwell is off the circuit. Oh! Who was that going off on the left? Leo Ayner. Looked like he went flying off the track. Martin Shirley carries on dry tyres. Alex Fretwell carries on dry tyres. Now Leo Ayner, he's not playing the long game here. He's having a go at Sam van Olst on the wets. These guys all have potential to catch those on dry tyres, but Leo says, watch this, I'll have it down the inside. Sam gets a great run through the right-hander. Will water turn into win, says Simon Price. That's absolutely outstanding. You can see just how heavily it's coming down now, though. They weren't going to stay on slicks throughout this. There's 2 drivers on slicks ahead of these guys, though, and look how tiptoey they're having to be into the old hairpin. They've both gone off. Fretwell runs wide, and so too does Martin Shirley. And look at this, the guys on wet tyres are just going to breeze past them like they're not there. Martin Shirley's going to really struggle to hold on to this now. Let's see what he does up into McLean's. He isn't obliged to get out of the way, but I think just on pure understeer, the car is moving out of the way for him. Sam van Olst goes through. So too does Leo. Leo down the inside there in the number 4 machine. Promotes himself from P4 to P3. So this now becomes the lead battle here, Dara. They had a lot of drama in the opening laps, did these guys, trying to survive on tyres that weren't ideal. But now it looks like they made the right call.
Yeah, it does. Wets are definitely the best tyre to be on right now. We're not even halfway into the race yet. So looks like they decided correctly. Van Olst is trying to go on the outside into the final couple of corners. I'll be honest with you, I don't know why he thought that was a good idea.
No.
Here comes Leo Ayner.
Yeah, I don't.
And it's straight through. He was never going to work around the outside there. And he just allowed himself to be vulnerable to Leo. I also don't really know what's going on because Mr. Shirley continues on, despite being about 5 seconds a lap slower, with about another, well, what, 7 laps to go in this race. So at the moment, he loses 35 seconds to the leaders. If it stayed as bad as it is, you feel like it's only going to get worse.
Yeah, that would be not to his benefit in the long run. Jan Osberg is on wets next up. He's got Martin Kenyon right behind him. Alex Fretwell is in the pits and about to come back out. In fact, Kenyon... Oh, hello. What was that? We heard that Martin Shirley off. Kenyon's still on dries as well, actually, and he hasn't come in yet. But then he's got 30 seconds back to Harry 7. These are all the guys that are on wets. So if you have a look here, you can see up to 6th place, the car highlighted there. They're all the drivers that are currently either the first 4 that started on wets or the 2 guys left on dries. 7th place, Harry 7, very fittingly, is the lead driver on wet tyres right now. Everybody else is on the wets. So it's going to be interesting to actually see if they do catch up, because obviously it's still very treacherous and you have to be really careful because this car has such a nasty 4-wheel drift about it. And he's got Dan McCauley right behind him. Now, Dan will be ruining this because he had a chance here to potentially win this race, I'd say, with obviously being one of the lead wet tyre runners and having that advantage near the start. But now he's got that huge gap to the race leaders. Shirley is, well, surely called it and headed into the pits. What about Martin Kenyon? I think he's just been off again and he's still carrying on. He's still going on for another lap. Here's Martin Kenyon. Jack Johns. Oh, Jack Johns has been back out on the track and then back off the track again, unfortunately. I think he sped in the pit lane at the start. Got a penalty. It's understeered. Oh, no. He's kissed some of the standing water on the outside. That's going to go straight into the wall. No, actually, wow. Fair play, Jack. He kept it out the wall, but he's decided that that is enough of this race. Sam van Olst ends up with a slowdown penalty. And Jijn Stitchbury, championship leader, is in a great position right now. Leo Ayner as well. 4 places gained for him so far. He's having a really, really solid run in this race. Good stuff. And now we have the battle between Dan McCauley and Harry 7, because these two are fighting to be best of the rest that basically didn't start on wets. You've got to think about the wet line here, Dara, because obviously there's going to be a lot of water off the racing line by the time this race is done. And then we've got to think about it drying later.
Oh, yeah, lots of... Yeah, absolutely. So, still a lot to think about for the evening. I would say for Johns, I mean, his flag suggests that he is from the UAE, so I'm not surprised that he's maybe struggled a little bit in some rain. It must be a little bit alien for him, if he indeed is from the area.
He lives there, but he's actually British.
Oh, well, there you go. Well, okay, then he's forgotten what it's like. There we go. Dan McCauley's not at all. He's Scottish. That's why he's thriving in these conditions. I shouldn't have said that. He's off the road, actually. Sorry, Dan. Matt Hoyland's going to come through. That's going to put him up into 7th place, and he's nearly to the lead of those guys that have pitted. So a top 5, and we're certainly on the cards for Matt Hoyland if he can get through on the Harry 7.
Look at the puddles now forming on the inside of this chicane. Nightmare fuel, really, if you were still on the dries. And Martin Kenyon has carried on. Martin is just... I think this is just like a silent protest here from Kenyon. He's still trying to get this car around, but look at that. It's just not behaving. It's just skating around. And at this point, he's going to become more of a hazard to everybody else than anything else. He's really struggling. These guys at least can drive as if it's not that wet, but you can see a lot of rain falling in the distance as well. It's the most I've actually seen it rain on iRacing, to be fair. It's very, very wet right now. It's certainly surpassed all expectations. Look at the puddle, the lake on the inside of the old hairpin there. I still can't believe that Martin Kenyon's carrying on those dries, and hopefully it doesn't cause an issue for any of these lot, but they're having a good scrap here, aren't they, these three?
Yeah, they are. They're making sure that there is more than enough going on in this race to not, have us short of any form of entertainment. That's for sure. Macaulay is still going to get a bit of a run. Goodness me, that's an inside line from Matt Hoyland. That's bold. That's brave. It's
oh, look at that!
Okay,
through goes
brilliant, but it was Dan Macaulay. Yeah,
through goes Hamilton. That was for Dan Macaulay. That was absolutely stunning. Oh, he may be one of my best mates, and I may be a bit biased, but flipping out, that's annoying. He's not going to stop talking about that for weeks now. Let's watch it again.
Let's have a look. Dan Macaulay, is it the up and under on all three of them? Oh, it absolutely is. Goodness me. 1, 2, 3. Gorgeous. That's already a contender for move of the season, isn't it? In round 3.
That's disgusting. Absolutely disgusting by Dan. But again, it just shows you that in these conditions, you have to really think a few corners ahead. He knew Martin was going to be slow because they've caught up to him that much, and he just knew where the apex was. And fair play to the other guys as well, though, it has to be said. They didn't cut all the way across to the inside and, swipe themselves across his nose or anything. They played a really respectful game there, and it just gave him the opportunity to do it. I know that he's going to ask me to watch that one back a few times after the race as he goes sideways through the old hairpin. Celebrating it already, Dara.
I know, right? It's a bit early for that, isn't it? But either way, it's a good little piece of racing overall. Back to the front of the field, all the way back to the start-finish line, of course, because they're so far in front of the rest. Stitchbury and Aina go through. They've kind of left Van Alst in the dust, haven't they?
Yeah.
Ever since Van Alst went for that move, he's just not had the pace anywhere near the level of the others. And, he's consigning himself to a kind of third place as it is right now. There's not really any other option for him.
And actually, you know what? Leo Aina is catching up with Jan Stitchbury here, who's 0.3 of a second quicker than him on the last lap, and on the lap before that as well. Leo is absolutely flying in these conditions right now. I believe he's tested a Clio Cup car in real life as well at the Dubai Autodrome, so you may know what this car feels like a bit more underneath him in the real world. But in these conditions right now, he's absolutely on a mission, chasing down championship leader Jan Stitchbury like it's nothing. And doing a really good job of it too. Sam Van Alst holds on to third place at the moment in the very bright and beautiful Goldsus car. He's a bit lonely with Jan Osberg then 7 seconds back. Jan also having a pretty good race at this moment in time. Very sideways up there. And Dan Macaulay started to clear away from Hoyland just behind him. But look how much these cars are skating around here. They really are on ice through a lot of these corners. Doing very, very well. But yeah, the lead battle's actually on here, Dara. It's very much on. Leo is pushing like mad.
Yeah, he really is. And it means that he could really be in with a shot of a win here ahead of the championship leader, Jan Stitchbury. Are they going to get a third? No, they're going to be 2 laps. Oh, actually, it's going to be close, isn't it? When they get 2 or 3 laps here. I think Stitchbury's going to want it to be 2. So we'll have to wait and see. There's Martin Kenyon off the road. It's not been a good race for Martin Kenyon, is it? He hasn't chosen the right tyres.
I mean, he's had
to bite him.
He's had long enough to change at the end of the day.
Yeah,
but there's a lot of water down there at the old hairpin. You can just see it piled up on the racetrack. Leo is pushing this car to the limit. He just needs to be careful with his overtake, though. He doesn't need to do anything heroic or anything silly on Jan Stitchbury here. He just needs to think about this methodically and think about it slowly, and he'll be able to get through, I'm sure, with the pace that he's got right now. He's managing this very, very well. Just don't want to see him overdo it, do we, into any of these corners. There's Jordan Butler getting dragged over to the side there. Stuart Clark and Alex Fretwell having a bit of a scrap for the final spot in the top 10. And let's not forget that this grid, or this result, sets the grid for the final race of the night as well in race 3. So Jan Stitchbury, as long as he's near the front, he'll be a happy bunny. Same with Sam Van Alst and Dan Macaulay, Matt Hoyland, all guys that are in some sort of championship contention. Fretwell's trying it all the way around the outside of Stuart Clark here in the Craners in the wet. That is... I don't know if that's bravery or stupidity. Oh, Stuart's going straight on. I told you, Stuart is always going straight on there, wasn't he, Dara? You could just see it coming.
Yeah, and got to be careful to rejoin. Yeah, he's all right. As Fretwell and Butler come past, they're having their own little battle as they come up towards turn 7 and 8, as they go into the trickiest part of the track, I think, at McLean's and Coppice, in terms of when you're really trying to focus in on a point of making a move. It's probably going to be down at that final chicane. So the 2 corners leading up to that, you put the extra pressure on to try and get right. So I think in the mind of a driver, they can end up being more difficult because you're trying to nail it just that little bit more than you would, in the opening middle sector. Back to the front of the field, though, there will be one more lap after this. A bit wide from Stitchbury. There's so much water on the racing line, isn't it?
Yeah, there really is. It's absolute nightmare fuel, and that water's going to stay as well for the final race. It's going to finish raining between the 2 races. Leo Ayner looks to the inside, and he's going to force Stitchbury into a mistake, and he's going to go through. He looks down the inside, forces the championship leader wide, and the number 4 of Leo Ayner of Ragnotti Racing takes the lead with potentially 1 lap to go here at Donington Park. What an amazing comeback story this is. Look at the amount of water there on the right-hand side of the shot. There's so much of it. I think we are going to get 1 more lap of racing here. Yes, we are. Okay, so Leo Ayner, after having a race ban because of penalty points accumulated at Misano, has come back and shown us all exactly how to race in the wet conditions here. This is a great comeback story. He's fought with and overtaken the championship leader, Ian Stitchbury, who himself has made a great call on these wet tyres and had a great run so far. But Leo is doing an absolutely wonderful job here. This is a great, great story.
Yeah, it really is. And Leo doing an absolutely fantastic job in these conditions to come back and deliver when it matters in the most difficult conditions that we've had all season long. And he's got a few more corners to negotiate, but he's going to be feeling pretty confident, I think, with a nice gap back between him and Ian.
Yeah, he's just got to keep it nice and tidy now. Just take it nice and easy. This will be the point where he's really nervous. Jan's got nothing to lose if you think about it, because he's got a big championship lead. Jan Osberg is off the road, but he doesn't need to worry about that 20-second gap back to Dan McCauley. Leo now just needs to try and hold on to take his first win of the season. I'm sure that Jan would try it if he was closer to him, but he's definitely not in an overtake range. This is brilliant, brilliant stuff to witness. And the number 4 of Leo Ayner just has 1 more braking zone. Jan puts his nose down the inside just to get that pressure on Leo, making sure he doesn't get a slowdown. And Leo Ayner takes a fantastic win in the CDM Clio Cup here at Donington Park. Weaves this way and that way across the line. Jan Stitchbury second. But what a great race that was by Leo Ayner. He will be loving that one. A very, very happy young man after that victory. Sam van Olst gets another podium in the championship. 3rd position for him. Jan Osberg, it looks like, is going to be the only driver to finish the race where he started, in 4th place. And Dan McCauley, by the look of it, after leading early on, is seemingly going to come home in 5th. And just for reference, there's Martin Kenyon struggling on the dries. I mean, it became more of a problem than necessary at that point. Dan McCauley crosses the line in 5th. Hoyland finishes 6th after gaining 9 places from 15th on the grid. And we have a bit of a battle going on further back. Lee Berridge and Alex Fretwell, I think. No, Fretwell ahead of Roberts, actually, in the background. They swap places, 9th and 10th. Jordan Butler is going to come home in 11th, but wow, it was put to bed quite early, that race, except for the lead, wasn't it, Dara?
It really was, but great for Leo to be able to come out on top. He's going to be delighted, you can tell already by the weaving. It's going to give him a bit of a confidence boost going into race 3, and he's clearly nailed the conditions in race 2. Let's see if he can do it again in race 3.
Yeah, that was really, really cool. Great to see that, and you know what? Hats off to the young man, because it's not easy to come back after a race ban, like I said. You know, he got a lot of incident points back at Misano, and that's what earned him a 1-round ban, and he's come straight back from that and taken a race victory in race 2 in the most challenging conditions of the season. There you can see the track changing in the background. It's processing all the weather and everything between the races. The drivers now have a 10-minute warm-up session to, well, effectively go out and clear that stuff off the racing line. There will be some of them heading out there, and that looks like more British conditions. Now let's have a look at some quick results before Dara and I go for a quick break. This was the result from race 1. Matt Hoyland takes the win from Alex Fretwell and Ian Stitchbury, with Sam van Olst in 4th and Martin Kenyon 5th. And it was Lee Berridge, Martin Shirley, Dan McCauley, Jack Johnson, Leo Ayner, with Stuart Clark, Jan Osberg, John Roberts, Harry Seven and Danny Weir completing the point scorers. Jordan Butler, James Underhill and James Pallett completed the field. Then we move on to the race just gone, and it was Leo Ayner taking his first win of the season in the Raniotti racing machine. Jan Stitchbury second place, more big championship points for him, ahead of Sam Van Olst and Jan Osberg. Dan McCauley in 5th ahead of Matt Hoyland. Harry Seven in 7th, very fittingly, with Lee Berridge 8th ahead of Alex Fretwell and John Roberts. Stuart Clark was in 11th, we're ahead of Danny Weir, with James Pallett, James Underhill and Martin Shirley completing the point scorers. Jordan Butler, Martin Kenyon and Jack Johns all failed to score in that one. But of course, we'll look forward to the final race of the night, as will Dara and I. Anyone you've got your eye on at this point, Dara? Because, I mean, it's hard to guess, I imagine.
It is, but I think there's a few of them in there that you could have a very good shout to kind of put it together in race 3. There's been a few drivers that had a couple of little moments but have shown good pace. Obviously difficult to look past Ian and Leo in this race, but the likes of Martin Kenyon as well has had some moments. Matt Hoyland too. I'm interested, but I think this warm-up session might break up a little bit of momentum. I think Leo probably would have wanted it to go immediately into the third race.
Yeah, I know he's going to be very, very happy heading into that last one. But we're just going to take a quick break here on Chaz Draycott Media, and we'll be right back with you for the final race of the night here in the CDM Clio Cup. Hello again, everybody. Chaz, Draycott and Dara Thacker here in the commentary box for the CDM Clio Cup here from Donington Park. As you can see, conditions still quite treacherous out there after a big rain shower during the second race of the evening. But Dara, this should be just as much of a difficult race for these guys now, because they have to think about the wet to dry conditions, don't we?
Yep, we do. It's going to change things up a little bit. We had the dry, well, I say dry to wet, but it was kind of damp to wet, wasn't it? Now going from damp to dry, it's so difficult to read conditions like that. And kind of a flip of what we see in race 2. Drivers can be better at reading one direction of conditions than the other, in terms of they can be better at reading it when it's getting wetter than it is when it's getting drier. We know how well Leo Ayner read it when it was getting wetter. Can he replicate that in race 3? We're going to see soon, but I think that's the intriguing thing coming into this one.
Yeah, definitely. I think it's going to be a very, very exciting race indeed. There's a mixture of drivers out on dries and wets right now, trying to make what they can of the conditions. Obviously, the circuit not as wet as it was, but there's still a lot of puddles here and there. There's still a lot of standing water. You can see it from this view from Leo Ayner's car. You can see all the puddles around the track, right on the edge of the circuit, and there'll be some on the apexes like as well. Big puddle on the inside of Redgate there, and Leo having to still put a lot of lock on and getting dragged across that curb on the left hand side. I tell you, he will be very happy after taking his first win in the CDM Clio Cup, and in brilliant fashion too, in very tough conditions. A little bit of a disagreement between a couple of drivers after the second race of the evening, but it was a bit of a banger race in certain places, wasn't it? It certainly looked tricky out there.
Yep, certainly did. But it was fun to watch from us, from our perspective, and that's kind of what we can really ask for, isn't it? So that's a good thing for us up here. Maybe not for the guys down there who are stressing it out, but hey, they're stressing out for our entertainment, Chaz.
Oh yeah, absolutely. That's why we're here, to watch people in distress. That's what entertains us. So that's why we decided to put a couple of wet races into the middle of the season. Lee Berridge tiptoeing his way down towards the old hairpin. And you know what? At this point, with the amount of water on the circuit still and the amount of spray, the rooster tail coming off the back of that car, I still don't know which tyres I'd go on for this race. To be fair, I don't think that I'd be going onto the dries. I think I'd be just trying to take a chance and stay on the wets. But then again, there is a bit of a dry line forming in places. There's patches.
Yeah, there really is, and it just shows that not everyone's going to feel safe, I think, and there's going to be parts of the track that end up becoming a bit more usable as the race goes on, and so those racing lines may have to change as we work our way through the final 20 minutes that we have before us.
Yeah, it's going to be a very, very difficult one by all standards, and the grid will be up on your screen in just a moment. It's just about to tick over to the next session. Now, of course, there will be a bit more time progression between that session just gone and now this one, so you'll see the circuit evolving in the background there as if the time has progressed. Leo Ayner starts on pole position for the final race of the night, ahead of Jan Stitchbury, looking for a very good score here this evening. Sam Van Olst next up with Jan Osberg alongside him. Dan McCauley will start in 5th alongside Matt Hoyland. Then we have Harry Seven and Lee Berridge on row 4, Alex Fretwell and John Roberts on row 5. Stuart Clark and Danny Weir will be 11th and 12th ahead of James Pallett and James Underhill, car 14, P14. Martin Shirley is 15th ahead of Jordan Butler, with Martin Kenyon and Jack Johns completing the field in this one. So the cars are now forming up on the grid now. Only one more car to go, which is Sam Van Olst, and he will appear on the 3rd grid spot. Boop, there he is. And we're about to get the last race at Donington Park underway in the CDM Clio Cup. The lights come on, the revs rise, the tension builds, and we get underway for the final time tonight in CDM Clio Cup. Poor start at the back of the grid by Jordan Butler. He's dropping away a little bit. Looks like Martin Kenyon struggled to get it off the line as well. Dan McCauley instantly looking to the inside of Sam Van Olst there. He's side by side with Jan Osberg, who's on his outside through the first corner. Hoyland and McCauley getting a bit close and friendly on the inside. Looks like Danny Weir is off on the inside line as well. Jack Johns tries to take advantage of that. He's all over the water on the right, though. Needs to be careful as he squeezes his way through. 4 places gained for him already, but Leo Ayner makes a great start ahead of Stitchbury and Van Olst, and then it's Osberg and everybody else.
Yep, and they all fly their way through, and it is Osberg who's just about holding up the train behind. That's going to be an interesting line for Dan McCauley if he can try and find a way through. He's going to go for the up and under on that dry tyre. Wets don't immediately look like they're fired up too well. Interesting that Aina and Stitchbury have gone for them and are looking to try and get away at the front, but Osberg struggling a little bit more. What a move from Dan McCauley, showing that the dry tyres are working just nicely for him, and then splashing through the puddles, which won't do them too nicely. Inside line.
No.
Oh, 3 wide, that was never going to work. I think it was Fretwell who made it on the inside. Miracle, they've all kept it on the tarmac. But here comes Harry 7 up the inside as well.
Harry 7 going through. John Roberts getting a push off his teammate Lee Berridge. James Underhill tries to find a gap on the left as well. This is going to get pretty scary. Down into the chicane. Whoa, that's Hoyland. Hoyland way off to the right-hand side. Underhill later on the brakes. Tries to keep it down the inside of Osberg. But what on earth happened to Matt Hoyland?
To his left, 2 cars
Oh,
to his right.
wow.
Oh, there was contact. And there was nothing he could do. He held his line very nicely indeed. He's
Yeah.
been
Oof.
wiped out there.
Yeah, Lee Berridge just hard lefted it down that back straight and through he went. Now we've got two dry tyre drivers, 2 wet tyre drivers in the top 10. Leo Aina apparently out of the race from the lead. No, that's devastating. Leo Aina suddenly flashes out of the session. We've got Francois Brandet with us, the race director for the evening, or for the season I should say. I wonder if Francois could just confirm whether that is an immediate disconnect or not for Leo Aina. But Sam Van Olst and Dan McCauley are the 2 dry tyre runners at the front of the field here, showing us that they're the tyres with the pace.
If I can quickly just say, the server has not said anything about Leo, but the driver himself said his game crashed.
Oh, that's absolutely devastating. Thank you, though, Francois, for the clarification. Leo Aina, after taking his first win in the series, is going to DNF from this final race of the night. Dan McCauley bounced into the side of Sam Van Olst there, and the Belgian continues to lead the race. Dan now trying to defend from Ian Stitchbury, but look at this behind here, Dara. Absolute bedlam.
Yep, it really is busy, isn't it, down here? Inside line for, well, who? Take your pick, quite frankly. As they're side by side, it's up and down the field. Shirley going to watch 7 go wide. 7, of course, was right towards the front of this train a couple of laps ago, but now slipping back a touch. Osberg and Roberts struggling on those wet tyres. They don't look like they're the right ones to be on, and it only looks like it's going to get worse for them as well. It's almost the opposite of what Stitchbury had in race 1, where it got better for him. It looks like it's going to get worse. Roberts just about lurking behind Danny Weir, or sorry, that's Clark behind Roberts, my bad, as they run up towards McLean's and then Coppice. Roberts inside line, and he just squeezed the car up the inside, just about a little bit of contact, but the room was left, and the move is made, and then he comes back across, and then there's a bit of contact, and he's back on the road, and it's all a bit messy, and this is a bit frantic, Chaz.
Yeah, Stuart Clark, I think, made the move and then just seemingly bled space to the left-hand side there, expecting to get the run on Roberts, and it didn't work. Now, after that previous lap, you'd expect Dan McCauley to be fired up, especially with the moves he's making tonight. Sam Van Olst has a slowdown penalty to serve, and he's going to stay over on the right-hand side, and that's going to surely give Dan McCauley the race lead. They go not 2 by 2, but side by side down towards turn 1, and McCauley does indeed inherit that race lead. Fretwell now up into 4th place. 5 places gained for him. Look at Jack Johns go. 11 places gained in the first 3 laps of this race. Jack Johns is on an utter mission. James Underhill just in front of him. 8 places gained for him as well. So throughout all this mayhem and the wet weather tyres, these guys are having an absolute field day in certain places. Martin Shirley, James Pallett and Stuart Clark, I've done it now, have all got slowdown penalties further down the order. But wow, this has been it's been an evening to remember, hasn't it? It's really thrown the results up in the air.
It really has, and changed things up. It means we've had 3 very individual races, which can be rare, but they've all had very much their own character, their own storylines, and that's always fun to see on an evening such as this. Still, we're only 5 minutes in. We're talking as if this is, we're getting towards the final stages of this 3rd race. We're not. We're only just really getting started in the start of the action. And the first kind of punches in the race, let alone the 2nd, 3rd, 6th round slog that we're going to get to by the end. Martin Shirley trying to find the right line through here. Jan Osberg slipping further and further back. Shirley surrounded by drivers on wet tyres. He'd rather not be. Hoyland just up in front, but it will be Shirley on the inside line. Into the final couple of corners, he'll make... Whoa! Well, he'll make that stick, and he'll also make the flight radar ping from East Midlands Airport.
He did, yeah, absolutely. That was a big old jump through that final chicane, but yeah, he's cleared for departure, and now he can get away from that group. Jack Johns has closed up on James Underhill here, and I know that James won't want to fight this too hard because he's got some big championship points on the horizon if he can finish there. They've got Ian Stitchbury up the road, who is on wet tyres. Lee Berridge between them and Ian as well. Jack is playing this to perfection, considering that his flight landed about an hour and a half before the race meeting. He's doing a very, very good job. He got off a 7-hour flight, bless him. So he's really pushing on and doing his best. John Roberts and Jan Osberg showing support to one another on wet tyres. Martin Kenyon's changed to the wets a little bit late based on that earlier race. There was a few question marks over why he was on the wets that long, considering how bad it was for him and his pace. But wow, busy night so far, Dara. And Jan Stichbury, I mean, he's that quick. He's holding on quite well, actually, on these wet tyres at the moment, isn't he? He's about a second a lap slower, but I'm sure he's hoping that just sort of levels out in time.
Yeah, he'll hope so. But I think he's not necessarily looking too promising in terms of him being able to come back at the top three in this race. On the tyres that he's currently on. 19 flats from the cars in front, 18.5 I think is from Alex Fretwell. Jan Stichbury, 20.5. He's a couple of seconds off what Alex Fretwell's able to do right now, and that's not a promising feeling, I think, in that car. Look at the run that Lee Berridge could get. Oh, diving left. He thought he had a chance on the inside line. Wasn't able to go for it and realised just at the final second. Dives out to what will be the outside line as they run down the hill. But he should get that one done. And Lee Berridge, the next driver to be ahead of Jan Stichbury.
Lee Berridge will love that because he was leading back at Okayama with Jan Stichbury bearing down on him. Now he's the one overtaking Jan and disappearing up the road. Danny Weir running wide in the HW Racing Machine, and Harry Seven will make his way around the outside. Hoyland will try and do the same momentarily. But at the front of the field, there's a 0.3 of a second gap between Dan McCauley in the Series 1 racing car and the Gold Sus machine of Sam Van Olst. It's very much not a subtle race car to see, is Sam's machine in your rear view mirror. But these two doing similar-ish laps. Sam was 0.2 of a second quicker on that previous circulation. Nice and late on the brakes there is Sam, really confident into that braking zone. Dan bouncing and bouncing over the curbs. They get a similar run out of the final corner. They need to think about Fretwell behind them, though, because he is on a mission as well. Let's look at the lap times. 18.7, 18.5 and 18.6. So out of the three of them, Sam Van Olst was actually quickest on that lap. Jack Johns going past James Underhill. Matt Hoyland has just done a purple final sector on that last lap, so he's now on some good pace too. Bit of contact between Underhill and Johns through turn one. Underhill ran a little bit wide. And he wants to come back over to the left and say no thank you, but Johns gets the run around the outside. Down the hill he will make it stick. Martin Kenyon and John Roberts having a scrap here on wet tyres further back. Figuring that one out, but yeah, McCauley holding the lead for now. Do you think he can hold that until the end, Dara? I mean, it's tricky to guess, I suppose.
Yeah, it's difficult to judge. I mean, we're so far out comparatively. You know, with well over half the... I say well over, a minute over half the race still to go. It's not that far over, is it? Let's be real. I'll probably be talking to that point. McCauley will have enough time, I think, to think about how he's going to defend, but at the same time, Van Olst is going to be able to spend enough time watching Dan's lines to be able to pick out, I think, exactly where he wants to exploit maybe a couple of little weaknesses or a couple of differentiated lines. He's close enough that he could spring an attack probably at any moment, but he's got to be careful in how he goes about it. James Underhill having a good third race for Spontex CDM. Don't know who they are, but they are having a good day up in sixth. He's past Jan, who it just must be so difficult to be going backwards in a race like this, knowing that yes, you're the championship leader, but with everyone that goes past, it's just, you know, valuable points that you're shipping away to the rest of the field.
Yeah, he's got more company as well. Harry Seven and then Matt Hoyland just behind him. Hoyland's been doing purple sectors, you know, but Dan McCauley actually did the fastest lap of the race on that last one. 1:18.28 for Dan. And nobody else other than Van Olst and Fretwell were actually in the 18s as well. Martin Shirley down the inside of Danny Weir gets the move done. Danny gives him a bit of a scrape on the exit, one way then the other, just saying, excuse me, please. Harry Seven now trying to go past Jan Stichbury. Jan will be gutted with this one. I know that a lot of the field will be quite happy to see that he's struggling, because it'll mean that he's not taking easy championship points away from this third race of the evening. But wow, it's certainly not what we expected. I thought he would have had the masterstroke there and been able to break away far enough. Got a great scrap going on here, though, between the three wet tyre runners, and then James Pallett and Stuart Clark in there as well. Look at this lot.
Yeah, there's so much going on in here, isn't there? Jan Osberg at the front of it with Kenyon. I mean, they're both fighting, but at the same time, they are, I mean, they're effectively on the same wrong strategy. So it's kind of frustrating to kind of be there right now. James Pallett is just about to have a look down the inside. No, he's not looking down the inside. he ends up going too far deep. And it says quench on the car, but I think it was clench in the moment as he just tried to avoid the cars in front of him. But they'll just about manage to make it all the way through, and he'll have another go, I'm sure, in a minute.
Sam Van Olst takes the race lead. Dan McCauley ends up with a slowdown penalty through the chicane, loses that race lead, and now Sam Van Olst has a half a second advantage over the Scotsman. And both of these guys wanting to take their first race victories of the season. Dan had 2 second places back at Okayama. Sam Van Olst, before tonight, only had 1 podium finish all season. Hoyland and Stitchbury swapping places again. I think Hoyland just went off a little bit there. Harry Seven has actually just recovered. What on earth is this about? Oh no, I think we're about to see an incident between these two. Hoyland right up behind him. Oh, he's going to clip him partway through. Oh, turns him. Oh dearie me, it's weird to see the car get turned like that. But then Hoyland has lost a lot of ground since and is now stuck in this fight with Stitchbury and Shirley. Martin Shirley's going well, isn't he? 7 places gained.
Yeah, really impressive drive as they get in towards the final chicane again. Big bounce, careful. It's going to put him into Stitchbury. Stitchbury goes wide on the wet tyres. Here comes Matt Hoyland. This is going to be a good run for him. Just in behind both of them, with Danny Weir in behind, is what I was trying to say. He is at the rear of this little group of cars. Inside line for Matt Hoyland. He's going to get past Stitchbury, as does Danny Weir. But can Matt... Oh, sorry, Matt Shirley. Can Mr. Shirley, is how I refer to him now, get overtaken down in towards turn 4? I think he's going to be safe for the time being, but it is Martin. I'm not bad with names at all. He's going to run his way in towards this tricky right-hander, but the comfortable right-hander for him in front of the rest of the group.
Sam Van Olst has just been off the road. It just flashed up red, and Dan McCauley is suddenly back with him. And once again, Alex Fretwell is the one in the background hoping to catch up to a group to make some moves. Lee Berridge is running in 4th place, by the way, very much on his own. But Jack Johns, what a race he's having at the moment. He's got James Underhill right with him, but Jack started 18th and last on the grid, and he's up to 5th position. He's having an absolute barnstormer, is Jack, hoping to take some big points away from this last event of the night. But really, he's just got to keep his eye on his mirrors right now, and so too is Martin Shirley, because Matt Hoyland, well, race winner in the championship now, he's going to have a head bigger than mine.
Really? That's impressive.
Wow. Wow.
Sorry. Oh, come on, you couldn't say in that sentence, "I've got a big head," and not expect me to jump on it. Not on the head, obviously. That'd be rude. Anyway, strictly on from that. Hoyland's still behind Shirley as they run their way through turn 1. He's right up behind her. There is a chance that you can go around the outside at 3 here and maybe make it work into 4, but it's just not going to work out as they dive down the hill, and Hoyland's just going to lurk a little bit longer. They're too far behind James Underhill to really have a go up towards P6, so I think they both know that P7 is going to be their maximum in this race.
Yeah, I think they're just going to consign themselves to that and try and scrap as best they can as McCauley goes back to the lead at Coppice, gets the move done down the inside. Van Olst is going to run right alongside him, and as they head down towards the final chicane, they've got to behave themselves. You do get a lot of side draft in these cars, I'm told, so that's why they do move nice and close to each other. Got to be careful as you get onto the brakes there, boys. McCauley's on the inside line again, bounces into the side of Van Olst. Van Olst is going to have a big old bounce, but Dan's got a slowdown penalty, and look at this, who's on the scene. Alex Fretwell says, "Hello, boys. Quarter of the race left to go, and I very much want to be a part of this." Here he is. Now, what's he going to do about trying to have a go at these two? Dan goes really deep in on the brakes there, but he's got a slow apex speed. Oh, dearie me, that's scary.
Yeah, it was. I thought McCauley was going to get turned around there by Alex Fretwell. Luckily not, but he's got that slow down. Whoa, hello. Hoyland and Shirley going at it in towards turn 1. I've never seen a more aggressive turn-in into turn 1 at Donington Park than that, but it's worked out for the time being for Martin Shirley. But down the inside, Hoyland's got the run that he's been wanting the whole time. Fretwell is ahead of McCauley. They had a bit of a moment down at the bottom of the hill, but it does look like Hoyland has made his way through and should be able to pull away a touch now. Frantic last 5 minutes as we come to expect.
Yeah, sorry, I had to cut away from that just to see the lead battle going on. Shirley giving Hoyland a push up the hill at this point now, just trying to get him up there into McLean's, then puts his nose down the inside, tries to squeeze down there, but now Danny Weir wants a piece of this equation as well. Danny gets alongside him into the braking zone for Coppice, tries it round the outside. Martin gives him a bit of an elbow as he goes in there. Danny's going to try and slot back in behind him now. James Pallett and John Roberts, I think, have both been off the road further back. Oh, there's been a big drama down here. Both of them off into the gravel. Let's have a quick look at what happened down this part of the circuit. So there's still a massive group of them back there, Dara. Flipping heck.
Yeah, there is. I mean, look at this as they run up. Yeah, a little bit difficult. And then he comes back. Now it's difficult to tell from that angle if he's touched the grass there and lost the control of the right-hand side of the car. But either way, it's not positive, that.
No, I think that you're absolutely right. I think that's what he did. He just touched the grass on the right-hand side, and then as he tried to get it stopped, it was just full lock to the left, and in it went. Now, we've got 3.5 minutes left here, and Alex Fretwell, after starting 9th on the grid, is very much in the mix for a race win here. You can see all the gravel that's been dragged back onto the track from the rejoining James Pallett and John Roberts. But these two are our battling pair for the win here. Neither of them have taken a win yet this season. They've both had a podium or two each. Well, Fretwell's had 4, actually, so far, and Sam Van Olst had 1 before tonight. So now it's down to which one of them is going to be the first one to win a race this season. Sam Van Olst had a 2nd place earlier in the championship, but Fretwell wants to be the first one to get a win of the pair. Now they've got to keep an eye on Dan McCauley still. Dan's not out of the mix here, but he's 1.8 seconds back. A slowdown penalty for Jack Johns. That's going to lose him time to James Underhill, who is still right with him in the Spontex CDM Esports car. He said to me he wasn't looking forward to tonight, was James, but you know what? He'll be quite happy with how this is going so far. 2.5 minutes left, Dara. Not long at all.
No, not at all. Couple of laps in hand. Shirley coming back at Matt Hoyland. 4/10 to the advantage was Shirley last time by compared to the 44. But it will be Matt who just about stays in front in P7. But bad exit, bad line. Here comes Shirley on the inside. Oh, they nearly make contact, but it's a good run. And he should be able to get this move well done before we get to the interesting duality of lines at turn 4. But he's not quite there yet. Has the inside line. Should get this one sorted and does on the brakes. Let's go see if Matt Hoyland gets a good exit.
He does, actually. Round the outside he goes as they go back up the hill then towards McLean's. Hoyland once again with the pace on his side. He's going to have the inside line as well as they get to the right-hander. Shirley's going to have to hang it around the outside and try and cut back. Danny Weir actually ends up trying to make a move out of it as well as the two of them get closer together. But now Hoyland is clear again. Can he get free again? We'll have to wait and see, because Shirley's definitely got a lot of pace about him tonight. Underhill is now back in front of Jack Johns after that slowdown penalty. Jack's going to, I'm sure, try and get this move redone before the end of the race. And, well, there's a run out of the final corner for you. Jack moves to the left-hand side. And now he decides to straighten up. He's trying to get some of that side draft, isn't he? It's very scary to watch as he edges closer and closer to him. Just tries to get it done before the first corner. Really late on the brakes around the outside. James is running a little bit wide. Oh, dearie me, that could have been a lot uglier. We've got Hoyland and Shirley. Speaking of, it could be uglier. Watch this. But no, I'm joking. Shirley down the inside. Hoyland carries the pace. Wow, this is busy stuff now, Dara.
It is. It's frantic because everyone knows that this is the last chance they have to pick up points this evening. If they're in good positions, they want to be in better ones. And if they're in bad positions, well, they don't want to be, do they? So into the final minute we are. They are trying everything they can to improve by a spot or two. Underhill and Johns, I think a top 5 is going to be invaluable to them. So they're going to be fighting tooth and nail on this and then the final lap, because there will be one more on completion of this. Van Olst is leading the way ahead of Fretwell, but he will get through the final couple of corners well before that time it hits 0. So Fretwell's going to have one more tour of this East Midlands circuit to try and find a way to the win.
Look at how quick they were bouncing over that curb there. Very feisty. Let's have a look at lap times once more, because look, Dan McCauley has closed in on the pair of them. Dan does the fastest lap of the race, a 1:17.830, but it's only a couple of thousandths faster than Alex Fretwell, so he's definitely quicker than them, factually, but not that much quicker than them. James Underhill and Jack Johns still kissing wing mirrors as they head down towards the first corner, and James still has that inside line. Jack still has the outside line, and Jack's got an amazing run, but then kisses all the water on the left-hand side. Doesn't work for him. Still right together as they head down the Craners. Goodness me, they're playing with fire here, aren't they?
Yeah, they are. It's not looking too comfortable, but Underhill's going to have the outside, so the inside line as they're on their way in towards McLean. It's tricky. But they just about make it through. That wasn't McLean's, obviously, was it? Sorry, I was getting distracted by the overhead camera angle. Matt Hoyland is just about seemingly going to hold on ahead of Shirley and Weir, but he's still got a few more corners to defend, and that was going into McLean's, and Sam Van Olst is coming out of McLean. So in actual fact, I've said it 3 times. We've not seen it once, Chaz.
Sam Van Olst has just 2 more corners left to go. Fretwell shouldn't go for a send here. He just needs to think championship points. Think of the long game. Sam Van Olst rounds the final corner and for the first time this season wins in the CDM Clio Cup. Fretwell is second, Macaulay is third. A very good podium for each of those drivers. Great win that by Sam Van Olst. Lovely driving. Lee Berridge, another great night for him actually. 4th position across the line. Jack Johns 5th, with James Underhill scoring his best result of the season in 6th. And Matt Hoyland, God, that's the hardest he's ever going to have worked for 7th place. Ahead of Martin Shirley. Danny Weir gets some good points. Harry Seven finishes in 10th. And then we have Stuart Clark just behind him. Ian Stitchbury eventually on those wet tyres finishes in 12th. He was very much out of the picture for a lot of that one. Martin Kenyon and Jan Osberg are finishing their fight to the line. We've had Jordan Butler finish 13th. These two will be the final point scorers as they cross the line. That is race and evening done for these two, 14th and 15th. James Pallett, after his earlier incident, will be in 16th place. And then John Roberts will be just a few seconds behind him with no front bumper in the background. But 3 first-time race winners tonight, Dara. That's the sort of race evening that you want, isn't it?
Oh, it absolutely is. And a great race evening overall. 3 different races in terms of their character, in terms of what we saw and what happened. I think it's overall a very successful evening. I think we're going to have 3 very happy people coming away from this race. A few that got, far more than 3, obviously. A few that got podiums, a few that got top 5s that may have felt like that could have been a bit of a target to aim for by the end of the season. But yeah, really fun night of racing.
Yeah, I think Jack Johns will be very happy with that 5th place in that race, and James Underhill had a really good scrap with him in that one as well. James, like I said before, said he wasn't looking forward to tonight, but to come away with a 6th place in the final race, especially after starting 14th on the grid, he will be really pleased. The HW Racing drivers spent a lot of time near each other in that one, with Martin Shirley in the mix too. Martin certainly had another busy race evening. Well, let's have a look at the race results, shall we? And just round up what we saw in that last one. Sam Van Olst takes his first win of the season with Alex Fretwell 2nd and Dan Macaulay in 3rd. Lee Berridge finishes 4th, some more big points for him, ahead of Jack Johns and James Underhill, with Matt Hoyland in 7th, ahead of Martin Shirley and Danny Weir. Harry Seven completes the top 10 and gets 6 championship points as a result. He was ahead of Stuart Clark, Ian Stitchbury, Jordan Butler, Martin Kenyon and Jan Osberg. Then it was James Pallett, John Roberts and unfortunately Leo Ayner from the lead disconnected in that final race. That was absolutely devastating for him. But we'll go back to the beginning of the race. We'll slow-mo it. We'll get some music on and we will speak to some drivers and see what they have to say for the finale of the evening. But I tell you what, Dara, welcome back, mate. You had a hell of an evening to come back to.
Yeah, apologise for, my inability of showing up last week to, caused it single-handedly to be not as exciting. I apologise profusely for that. But I did quite enjoy how much action we had tonight. I mean, I think the rain helped a bit. It changed it up a bit with the drivers, changed up how they were able to race, and it kept them guessing a touch. But I quite like that. I think generally, as a driver as well, you kind of like that little challenge of having to work it out as you go. You can't really prepare for it too much. It's never fun to necessarily, have the same rhythm over and over again for hours on end. So, yeah, good fun tonight.
Well, one driver that I want to speak to straight away, considering that he had possibly the worst result he could have had in that last race, but taking his first win of the season in race 2. Leo, welcome back, mate. That's a hell of a way to come back after the 1-round ban, isn't it? Well done.
Yeah, it was a really good decision to go on the wets, and it definitely paid off.
It certainly looked like it. How was it trying to adapt to the conditions, though? Because it seemed to change quite quickly, didn't it, underneath everybody?
At first, obviously, it was quite slow. Was just trying to hang on there. Obviously, I was on the white line defending pretty much every corner. And then slowly, as the rain came in, we were overtaking more of the dry, everyone else that was on the dry compound. And then it was just a 1-2-3 with everyone who was on the wet compound. And then I overtook one guy. It was a 2-second gap to P1. Just got stuck in after about 6 laps. I caught up to him, put my nose down the inside. He made a slight mistake, went on the grass, drove past him, and then took it down to the line, took the win.
Yeah, it certainly looked like you had the advantage over just about everybody in the field. Does that come from particular experience in the wet conditions, or is it just something you click with here on iRacing?
Well, I've done a lot of wet racing in real life, in England particularly, and also I did a lot of wet testing today before the race to get prepared, which that helped a lot to see the lines. A lot of people were going outside on some of the corners where it was still the racing line, and then the other corners I was going outside where the grip was.
Well, it certainly looked like an interesting set of scenarios there, Leo. It's obviously devastating with the final race of the night, but how are you feeling about heading to the next round now with that win under your belt?
I'm feeling really confident. I'm feeling really good. I'm going to do a lot of testing to prepare for the next race. Obviously, it's a dry race, so it just comes down to the lap times. And I'm looking forward to it.
Well, we look forward to it too, Leo. Is there anyone you'd like to give a shout out to before we let you go?
CDM Media.
Thank you very much.
That's Draycott Media, yeah.
Thank you very much, mate. Well, great to speak to you, Leo. Well done on that victory. Apologies and obviously commiserations for the final race, and we will see you next time round.
Yeah, thank you. Bye.
Fantastic stuff. Leo taking his first win of the season there, Dara. And, well, like I say, the fantastic story of him coming back from a round ban to come and do that is just mega, isn't it?
Oh, it absolutely is. And just to be able to show what he does, and to have the calmness, I think. It's difficult to come back from a round ban, especially after only one round. It's tricky to be able to then kind of reinstate yourself in a championship, but I mean, he's done it in the best way possible tonight.
Absolutely did. And another driver that I would like you to have a chin wag with. Finished second in that final race. Only just, though. Mr. Fretwell joins us in the box.
Hello, Mr. Fretwell. Good result for you tonight. You had a very good evening overall. Talk us through how you're feeling, first of all.
Yeah, overall pretty decent. Just race 1 and race 3 pretty much identical results. Just missing that little bit. Race 1 was just so difficult to make any progress against Matt. I think probably got 0.3, 0.4 a couple of times, but it's just like a brick wall. Didn't seem to be gaining anything. I think he did have about a 10th on me, which obviously a little bit of slipstream cancelled out and let me stick with him, but never anywhere near a sort of decent overtaking opportunity. Race 2 was a little bit chaotic. The rain came a lot quicker than anything told me it would. And then at that point I thought, well, I'll just try and take it as far as I can. Sort of doubling down on a bad decision, I guess. And then race 3, I think everyone was a lot more cautious on the conditions. There were a couple that started on wets and most was on slicks, and there's that hour and a half gap or so expected it to be pretty dry, and it was. Then a bit of a wobble as it dried out a bit more. I didn't seem to gain as much as anyone else, and then upped it again towards the end. So decent night. I'll take two podiums and build on that.
Yeah, I think it's interesting that you had a kind of an up and down evening, and the strategy went for you and against you in equal measure over the course of the evening. Looking forward, of course, this is a good way to keep you firmly towards the sharp end of the championship. How do you feel like you can approach the rest of the season after tonight?
Up and down, and I think the reverse grid, probably with that, knowing where I would have started, I probably would have been better on wets. Got stuck behind quite a few of the wet runners early on. They were a lot slower. Can't remember the rest of your question now. The rest of the championship. Just keep going as we are. Try and keep it pointing in the right direction. If it's not, give it a bootful and hope for the best.
Yeah, and not a bad way to look at it, I think, going to next week. So, sounds good from your side. Before we let you go, though, Alex, after a good evening with the racing, is there anyone you'd like to give a shout-out to on the broadcast?
The three of you. It's good to have everyone back. including French Chaz back in his regular role this week. You've probably got a couple of incidents to check out again. It was a little sketchy.
Only if I had a couple, mate. Only if I had a couple, mate.
But no, again, just brilliant job by you all. I think we're getting there. But yeah, maybe just calm down a little bit more.
As it hopefully will, for Chaz and French Chaz as well. I wonder if they've met, Chaz and French Chaz.
We've not actually.
That'd be fun. Well, I mean, I just kind of want the character to meet you, to be honest. But that sounds quite fun.
In my fan fictions, don't worry.
Yeah.
Oh, fantastic. Right, before this gets weird, Alex, we'll let you go, and yeah, good luck for next week.
Yeah, cheers.
Fantastic. We will very quickly bring a couple of drivers in. We'll make our way through. James Underhill told me tonight, as I've mentioned in the broadcast, he wasn't looking forward to tonight. But James, you must be pretty chuffed after scoring some solid points in that last one. Nicely done.
That last one, I don't think I've had a race like that in many, many years. It's lovely, to be honest. Jack was just fair. I was fair. It's difficult because I could follow him and stay sort of the same distance, but as soon as I got in front, he'd just catch up to me. And I don't want to defend too hard because it was the highest I've finished all season, so I didn't want to get spun.
And what were conditions like in that final race? Because we could tell it was still tricky in places, but sometimes from the outside of the car, you don't get the full story.
Do you know what? In the final race, it taught me that all season, the reason I'm so slow is I'm overheating tyres.
What, just putting too much lock on?
Either that or just throwing it in too much or something. But it's that last race, because it was slightly damp, I think, still. It didn't overheat the tyres. So I made my way up. I just thought 14th or something.
Yes, 14th on the grid to 6th.
To 6th. Well, I was 5th at one point, so I was 5th and thinking, I don't want to mess this up. But I think it's because I overheat the tyres. Because I felt like the guys in front weren't pulling away a ridiculous amount, but I was pulling away from the guys behind. I don't know, just a confidence booster really, until next round is like 33 degrees.
Well, we are actually going to Jerez in Spain, so that's going to be a very different kettle of fish, but we do have it still set to cool to at least be nice to you guys. Before we let you go though, James, is there anyone you'd like to give a shout out to tonight?
You know what, I didn't do this last week. I'd like to thank you and French Chaz.
Hey, let's go.
And Dara, I don't really know Dara.
No, that's fine. That's fine. I won't hold that against you, James.
That's my moment. That's my moment. Ignore me.
No, you've always been fantastic, and French Chaz is fun to play games with as well outside of racing. So yeah, just you two. Thanks for putting it on.
Thank you very much, James. Always a pleasure, and we look forward to speaking to you again as the season goes on. Cheers.
All right, love you.
Love you. Bye.
Thanks a lot, Jim.
Bless him, absolute star. Dara, if we can fit Dan McCauley's massive head in the commentary box after how he's performed tonight, why don't you have a chat with him?
Well, I mean, it's difficult really because I'm so small that I almost can't reach it right now because it's been such a good night for Dan McCauley. Dan, welcome in. I mean, what an evening for you. Talk us through, firstly, forget everything that happened basically for 59 and 30 seconds worth of racing. That triple overtake with the up and under. Talk us through that. What were you thinking on the exit?
I think that's kind of been my move that I've made all season, to be honest. Just everyone gets a bit excited on the way in and always leaves this big massive gaping hole on the way out. So I kind of seen Martin on the way in. He was extremely slow, so it caught the other two by surprise, and I've kind of seen, I think Harry kind of went to move and then Matt got caught out, so he went, and I was like, whoa, either they're both going to take each other out or they're going to be fighting to stay on the track, and I managed to scrape up the inside. So yeah, it's pretty good.
Yeah, and I mean, good for your championship aspirations as well, and you know where you look to be going towards the second half of the season. I mean, where does the confidence sit going into the second half? I know we're 3 rounds in, we're not quite there yet, but we've been learning the style of racing, learning these cars, and with the drivers that we have here. How do you feel like that confidence has changed over the last few weeks?
I feel like after Okayama, it was as high as it could get. I think I was probably the fastest car on the track in race 3 with the way I got that gap down. So I was pretty confident for tonight. Race 1 obviously didn't go great. It was a bit of an incident with Stitch, which is what it is. Race 2 made a bit of a mess, but the comeback was okay. And race 3, I thought, right, okay, this is my chance to get back on top of it, end the night on a high, and yeah, it didn't quite go to plan. Kind of bottled it a little bit of squeezing, got a slowdown right at the end, and yeah, I couldn't really serve it. I left it off and the slowdown was going up, so yeah, bit of a nightmare with that. So I'd say I'm kind of, confidence is probably 8 out of 10. I know I've got the pace late in the race and especially late in the evening. I think I'm one of the more consistent ones that come in through the field. I don't tend to get involved in that many incidents that I think are my fault, which is hopefully going to play out in the long run as these license points and penalties accrue, as we're seeing already. So yeah, I'm not really thinking about a championship, to be honest. I just want to jump on, have fun. The racing between most of the guys is really good fun. I mean, especially with Moyland and stuff, he could have cut my nose off 20 times tonight, and he didn't. He left more than enough space. So yeah, really good fun. So I think the confidence will come as the fun and the enjoyment factor comes. So just carry on as I am and see how it goes.
Yeah, I think that's a good way to look at it, and well, we wish you the best of luck for the next few weeks, Dan. Before we let you go, is there anyone you'd like to give a shout out to in the stream?
Big shout out to you guys for the broadcast. I'm sure it's excellent as always, and to the French Chaz for all his work behind the scenes. I'll probably better give a shout out to Drew, considering he made me miss 20 minutes of practice to put a logo on a car, but hey ho. Heard he's lost a bit of weight, so shout out to Drew for that. Well done, proud of you. And yeah, catch you guys next week. Thank you.
Lovely
Dan.
stuff. Cheers, Dan. Seems like Drew gets a shout out for either not doing anything or inconveniencing Dan, which, knowing Drew, that's exactly what he'd want a shout out for. Let's have a word with Jack Johns, biggest mover of the night in that final race. 13 places, Jack. You didn't have the race 2 to remember, so we'll glaze over that, but flipping heck, mate, what a race 3. You must be buzzing.
Yeah, no, race 3 was really fun. And it's erased all of the previous races today. I don't even know what happened. It was quite nice to not know what tires to start on. I think like having a radar and stuff is obviously great, but I came in a little bit blind today. I knew it was going to rain at some point, but yeah, on that one, it was really, we knew the conditions would carry over from race 2 to 3, and then I was talking to Sam, is it wet or dry? And he didn't really know who was on what tyre around him. I actually went to the grid with some wet tyres originally, and Martin Kenyon was also on wets. But then looking at the track, it didn't look right, so I quickly swapped it over, and I'm glad I did, because that was a nice charge. I had a great fight with James Underhill at the end there. It was really, really fun.
I was going to say, every time we cut to you and James, you were either side by side or basically pushing each other down a straight. It looked like an absolute riot, but that's what you can do with these cars, isn't it? I mean, you've hosted leagues with these cars before, and you've experienced the racing before, so I imagine you were quite itching to get behind the wheel again.
Yeah, I actually lost you a little bit there, Chaz. I think my headset came out, but I got what you're saying. The cars are they're lively, and as we've seen so far this season, they're still quite difficult to drive in terms of the braking. You've got to get that braking pressure right. If you lock up, you're just going straight. It's really hard to get it back. The rear quarter panel's a little bit lively with the netcode still, which is a shame, but for the most part, yeah, you can race quite hard. And they're so small as well. Like some of the 1Xs that you get it's so it feels like you're on the track, but obviously because it's half the size of a GT3 car, you're like, oh, actually no, I was probably fully off.
Yeah, it's a different kettle of fish to a lot of other cars on the service, but I suppose that's the appeal. Is there anyone you'd like to give a shout out to before we let you go tonight, Jack?
A shout out to James Underhill. That was really enjoyed it. Swapping left right is I think it was hard but fair from both sides, and actually Daniel McCauley as well, because I had a tap with him at one point after he was serving a slowdown, and then I wasn't sure if it was fair or not, so I just let him back past on the next straight. So
fair play.
Yeah, all good.
Smashing stuff. Well, thank you very much, Jack. Well done again, and go and get some kip for God's sake. Now you've had your long flight and your long evening.
Thank you. See you soon.
Cheers. Yeah, Jack, like I say, had a 7-hour flight earlier, got straight off that, straight home into the rig, and then went and pulled a performance like that off from 18th on the grid up to 5th. Fair play. That is going to be the end of the night, though. Dara, any final words from you before we wrap it up here?
It's been a great evening, isn't it, here at Donington? Wet to dry, dry to wet to Yeah, you know what I mean. It was wet. So much going on. Hours worth of racing. Felt like 2 or 3. It really did have everything over the course of the evening. Some great performances and some, I think, interesting championship storylines to keep an eye on as we get into next week. So good evening all round, Chaz.
Absolutely. Well, it's great to have you back. Thanks once again to Dara. Thank you to everybody for watching tonight. Thank you all the drivers for putting on such a great show. And thank you to Francois Brandet as well, our race director, and for helping out with running the series. That's it from Donington Park here this evening. We'll see you in a week's time at Jerez when it's going to be very Spanish sunshine for us all to enjoy. Take care.